Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, you know, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, you know, no matter how them try run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afridamus Report. I want to welcome all of you here today. Amilcar, African Parasite, this is Africa, Stoic One, and all the people I haven't mentioned, you're all welcome here to the Afridamus Report. As you guys know, the best reaction person channel on this side of YouTube, that's me. Because I would dig in, I would bring you the real information. For me, it's not about, being emotional or trying to be kumbaya or wanting people to like you or not like you. It is about facts, because you see, one thing that Africans lack is the right information. And I know some like to come and say, well, speak for yourself, not for everybody. But again, the information that I'm about to bring to you here, it wasn't brought to all of us here by an African person. Know that. It would always have to take a white person to go and dig up and get the information. So I want to give a shout out to the white man that went in and got us the real information. Because you see, since I am, on the no-fly list to the Equatorial Guinea, the place that we're going to be talking about today. You guys remember I talked about African dictators, right? So we hit several countries, but then one country made it on the list twice. Ask yourself, how did a dictator style let me rephrase this well. A North Korean style dictatorship, taking place right under our noses in Africa, and somehow Africans are so oblivious of it, they are not even aware. So many people, especially when you generalize and say Africa, it blinds you to the realities of what is actually going on in individual countries. People, that's what people tend to ignore. But today, I would break this down for you to see exactly what we're talking about. The critics, they're going to come and say, oh, you're using the white man's information. Yes. Same people that get their information from Google, from quote unquote, the DNA, anything that, that works for them. Yes, it is good to go. But Africa, let's ask ourselves, right? At what point are Africans going to truly wake up and face reality and face the truth? Because many people like to talk about King Leopold. You have King Leopold in Africa today in blackface. The new people, most people, all of us, or before, what we've learned was the white colonialists, the Europeans, they came to Africa to suck the resources and take it back to their homeland. Isn't that what we were told? Yes, of course, some of them did it. One man stands who had his own colony. I mean, it's historic, and he did damage with it, which is King Leopold. He owned Congo, right? And we all know what happened there. And for those of you who don't know, I'm going to bring that history here today. And not today, but another time. King Leopold was the king of Belgium who personally, it wasn't the people of Belgium or the government. He owned the territory of Congo. He's never stepped foot there. He became wealthy off of the resources in the Congo. He had the entire territory to himself to do whatever he wants with it. So you see, people, if you own territories, imagine vast territory with resources, you're going to be wealthy. So that's the same thing you're going to see here today. A small country called Equatorial Guinea is located in an area called the armpit of Africa. They are rich in oil and gas. So you would think Equatorial Guinea, the wealth that appeared under the ground there would benefit the entire population of Equatorial Guinea. Equatorial Guinea, by the way, was a Spanish colony at one time, the only Spanish colony in Africa. And eventually, they gained independence sometimes in the 60s, and they had the first individual that became president. The only time they've ever voted and elected someone, he became a lunatic. I gave you guys that story here. The guy that was in charge who killed over 100 million of their own citizens. Now, that man, his nephew who removed him, who's Teodoro Obiang Masango Nguema, became the president. And he's been the president ever since. Nobody's allowed to oppose him. There's no opposition. Everything is a family matter. He owned the country. The country belongs to him, just like the Congo belonged to King Leopold. And I'm going to explain. I would show you the similarities between Teodoro Nguema Masango and King Leopold and the North Koreans. Because North Korea is another country that we know of where one family owns the country. In Equatorial Guinea, the vice president is the son of the president. The president appointed his own son. Talk about nepotism, people. So that country belongs to individuals. And you see this in some parts of Africa as well, but it is not as obvious as it is in Equatorial Guinea. So when people talk about, Africa uniting, how can you unite Africa with people, with private individuals owning countries? How can that happen? It's not going to happen, people. Because what can you tell the people in Equatorial Guinea, not the citizens? I'm talking about the people that the country belonged to, Teodoro and his son, junior and senior. So there's no progress there. So even though Equatorial Guinea found oil wealth, do you think their citizens are benefiting from it? They are not. The country is impoverished. The people are living below $2 a day. Electricity is unstable. No opposition is allowed. If you speak, you would be taken to jail. Pretty much call it a concentration camp. So for people that travel to Africa, especially when you say, oh, I'm going to Africa. No, not two African countries are the same. There is a difference. There is complete difference. Some places there is freedom, but other places there is absolutely no freedom, followed with abject poverty. So I'm going to show you a video. It's a short documentary. This documentary is fresh out of the oven, people. It's less than a month old. In fact, it's just a couple days ago, less than a week old, when this documentary came out. It's as if it's as if they went and watched my video the on the dictators of Africa, and the video got sent to me. They said, "Hey, Afridamus, take a look at this. You want to talk about something that is very, very current? Here is a piece that we did. The white people, are going to be blamed, but at least white people hold people accountable." Now, you guys remember, I don't know if all of you, but I have said in an interview before that some African countries, majority, they need to be recolonized, because at least these countries under colonialism, not all, but most of them, their life standard, their lifestyle was better. They at least had schools built for them. They had hospitals built for them. But now you have their own people in charge, their own citizens, and they have the wealth to transform the country, to change people's lives. They are not doing it. How are they different from the colonialists? They are not different. They are not. They are not. And when I say it, people get upset, but think about it. Maybe it would help you, me, and everybody change the way we see Africa and the way we should approach it. But as the way it is right now, it is rather sick, because these people are taking their wealth from their own country. This wealth doesn't belong to them, by the way. They take millions and millions and millions out. Guess where they take it to? The same quote unquote white man that they hate so much, to the white man's country. So this is why it blows my mind when I see some of these people come here and try to make arguments, on behalf of dictators. And they blame outside sources. But the outside source is not the problem. You are. You have to look in the mirror. But I don't want to keep you waiting. I'm going to get straight into this documentary, and I'm going to break it down as we go. It is a 60 minutes Australian, Australia, not the United States, Australia. I know you guys know I talk about mainstream media and some of their biases, but not all of them are biased. Because you see, when they talk about certain things, I remember, for instance, in the Gambia, when we had a dictator there, Yaya Jammeh, who, by the way, he is in Equatorial Guinea right now, seeking refuge. That's where he is. They showed things about him, saying he's a dictator on CNN and other places. Being from the country, and the Gambian people, they know CNN wasn't making it up. It was true. The man said he can cure AIDS. They didn't make it up. And these very dictators, guess what? When they get sick or they need medical checkup, guess where they go to? To the white man's country. So that's why it's rather silly for some of these dumb Pan-Africanists that come here and try to say, "Oh, why don't you go to Africa and do this and this and that?" If the people that are in charge, they have all the money, the country's resources, they are the one in control. Don't even trust the hospital there or the education system. And they are the ones in charge to take care of that. They are running to the white man's country. And you're going to get mad at me, a private citizen, for living in the white man's country? You're the dumb one. I'm not. You see? So Yahya Jammeh the same thing. He was, squandering the Gambian people's wealth, spending it on himself, bought him a mansion in Potomac, Virginia. And you guys are going to see a pattern here. and it would make sense to you why Yahya Jammeh ran to Equatorial Guinea. This is the pattern of most of the African dictators. They would take from their country and go invest it in the white man's land. This is why I said, why doesn't the people should just have the white man come and recolonize? Because all the wealth is still going to the white man's country. But I don't want to keep you waiting. Let's start this video and I'll break it down as we go.
Story of a tyrant, possibly
Fair use, fair use.
the worst in the world. He's vicious, he's venal, and he's robbing his country blind. His country is an African hellhole called Equatorial Guinea, and no one would have ever heard or cared about it if they hadn't discovered vast oil deposits just offshore. So much oil, in fact, that at the rate this tiny country is growing, in 10 years it could be the richest in the world. The trouble is, most of the oil money is being pumped directly into the president's pocket. He's living like a king while his people starve.
Did you guys hear how they described it? A hellhole, which is true. By the time you finish watching this documentary, you would agree that this is a hellhole. You see, when you're watching stuff or taking information in, it's not about your feelings. Leave your feelings aside and pay attention to what is being said and what is being shown to you. This country have the potential, literally, to become one of the richest countries in the world. But it is a hellhole thanks to their dictator and his son. This is a family affair, people.
The two-bob, tin-pot tyrant who runs this tiny African backwater gets around with an entourage worthy of a superpower. And he is just about the most horrible despot in the world today. President Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbisogo. His people are amongst the poorest on earth, and he's amongst the richest.
Did you guys hear that? So when you hear some people say, oh, we have high GDP. No. The country has the potential. They have the wealth, but the people themselves don't have it. The people are among the poorest in the world, literally the poorest in the world. It is sad to see. You guys see how this dictator is. I mean, I don't need to tell you. You are seeing for yourself. You're seeing exactly what is happening here.
This is one bad place. It's had one of the most appalling human rights records probably in the world. Regular torture, regular extrajudicial killings. Until people found oil, nobody was really talking about Equatorial Guinea.
The oil here is attractive because it's non-Arab, non-OPEC, non-Muslim, and the rigs are well out of reach of the pesky natives. The main island of this tiny nation is in what detractors call the armpit of Africa. A small Australian company, Rock Oil, is drilling here, but it's mostly American giants, particularly Exxon Mobil. To begin with, they gave Equatorial Guinea, the oil's owners, just 12% of the oil revenues.
You see, they even signed a horrible deal. They're only getting 12%. And that 12%, they are not willing to give it to the people that deserve it, because the oil belongs to the country, not to them. But in their heads, they are the owners of this.
The norm is more like 60%, according to Alex Vines, an African specialist with the Royal Institute of International Affairs.
Initially, the oil companies gave Equatorial Guinea a really bad deal.
They took advantage of him.
Certainly to start with. The government of Equatorial Guinea had not a clue what it was dealing with at the time.
The main square in the capital is a quaint throwback to Spanish colonial times.
So you see, the nicest buildings in that country still is what the Spanish colonialists built. You're seeing the buildings. Those are what they are showing you.
Elsewhere, the city is mostly a slum, with little running water and essentially no sewerage. The government stopped us filming here, but we managed these shots from our hotel window. Whilst the oil fires flicker on the horizon at night, students with no electricity at home study under the streetlights that illuminate the drive to the presidential palace.
Guys, can you believe this? No electricity. The students have to go outside at night to catch the flickering light from the oil rigs. And I'm telling you, last time when I was making the point, about electricity being a problem in African countries, I had some silly people trying to come and argue, telling me, oh no, maybe just your country. Here is a country that has oil. They have wealth. You're seeing the slums that their people are living in. At night, the students have to go outside and sit to catch the flickering light to try to study. How can they even study? What are they reading? It doesn't make sense.
Very bad, evil government. And Exxon, I think, to a shame, is in bed with them.
Frank Ruddy is doubly qualified. He was once the American ambassador to Equatorial Guinea and once a lawyer for Exxon.
The shameful part is that you have a great company like Exxon Mobil, which is tied in with this very corrupt government. The president treats the Treasury as his own patrimony. And so to do business with somebody like that and to basically literally feed his coffers, I think it's shameful.
The president and his family are...
That's his son, the vice president. And you can see, right? They are holding Exxon Mobil accountable, who are literally, it's just a corporation. They don't care. They just want that oil, and they are in bed with a brutal dictator. You see, like white people, they would investigate another white company and put it and lay it out. But try getting an African to do that. Oh, we're all African. What's that have to do with the truth? They would rather, they are heartless. They would rather see those poor people continue to live in poverty than speak the truth to bring changes. And if you speak the truth, you are the enemy. You are the enemy. This is another thing that is holding Africa, back, because people don't want to face the truth. They could see this happening. They're not going to want to talk about it. They would just pretend like it's not happening. But now you're about to see the vice president, the son of the president, how he lives. Check this out.
Frequently overseas. First son, Teodoro Jr., is partial to Paris and its finest hotels. Incredibly, he once allowed French television to tag along on a shopping spree. But a Bentley can be hard work in Paris traffic.
C'est Paris. Pour le soir, vous avez dit? Pour le soir, si vous avez des cocktails ou des gens...
A fashion house closed its doors to give Junior exclusive access to the merchandise.
So you're seeing where the millions are getting spent, right? I thought you guys said, oh, white colonialists, they're just coming to, steal from Africa and take the resources. But you have African dictators, when they steal the resources from their people, you see where they are spending the money? So the money goes right back to They are quote-unquote former colonial masters. It's not France, but you get the point. So this man wants to live like a rock star, goes suit shopping. They have to close it out to the public. No one else can come in. Do you know how much money this man probably dropped there for them to do that? He had a TV station following him as if he's Michael Jackson. It's a problem, people. But let's continue.
So whilst their Paris ambassador did his job, Teodoro bought 30 suits that day, browsed for a new watch, and then took the Lamborghini down the Champs-Élysées to get some CDs. Would it be churlish to suggest that maybe it's excesses like this that cause so little to be spent in the slums back home?
The actual expenditure on health and education has significantly declined in the last 5 years. And think of it, the last 5 years are when the oil wealth has really been kicking in. So although the country's getting richer, actually the people are getting poorer. The money is going elsewhere. It's not going to the benefit of the people.
Did you guys catch that? The richer the country is becoming, the more their lifestyle is declining. They are spending less and less on healthcare. They are spending less on what could help the people improve schools, roads. I mean, you guys saw the slums. They are, letting kids run around, no clothes, naked, no clothing, no shoes in these dangerous environments, while they just live lavishly. I mean, you haven't even seen anything yet. You're gonna get more disgusted at what is going on. Even think about it, when the white colonialists were there, at least they built all these things for them. They built stuff for them. Now they have their people in charge. The richer the country has become, the poor their standard of living is. Make that make sense.
The white man's hotel in the capital has one of the nation's 2 swimming pools. Neither contains water. Pity really, because here we found Eric Musumbani, Eric the Eel. Remember him? The slowest swimmer at the Sydney Olympics and now training for Athens. Well, how do you do training if the pools haven't got water?
Okay, I was in South Africa and in Ghana. That way I have been training. But now I have to move to Spain.
Think about that. For him to even, this is a Olympic swimmer. He's representing that country. They are sitting at a pool. They only have 2 swimming pools in the entire country. He can't even find a pool to train in. He has to go to South Africa or Ghana. But now he's going to move to Spain, their former colonial masters country. That's where he's going to move to if he wants to have access to pool, just to represent the country.
Train. He can do it.
At the same hotel, we ran into some of Exxon Mobil's men relaxing after a stint on the rigs. Perhaps being well-oiled blurs the sight of the squalor that's all around. This country's dirt poor. Where's all the money going?
We don't control where the money goes. We're just out here to do a job.
I was having dinner at a fish restaurant an hour or so after talking to those rig workers when, out of the blue, the Equatorial Guinean information minister shows up and says, "Get out of the country. Your visa has been revoked."
Guys, now you understand why I couldn't go in to collect this information for you guys. I had to rely on the white man to go in and do it because, the white man, put the white man in front of the African, then you would get the truth. If the another African shows up, that African will be dead. So I hope you guys understand. I have different ways of making sure this information comes to you. So people can scream and say, oh, you're banned from my country. But guess what? The white man would bring us the information for me to break it down here. And that's what we're relying on. Let's continue.
Added for good measure, if you go quietly, then nobody will be
Yes, Amilcar, he just came from a fish restaurant at the fish market.
thrown into jail. So I think understandably we then quietly made our way here to Madrid in Spain. How many times have you been to jail?
4 times.
Have you been to jail?
Several times.
The rat-infested Black Beach jail back in the capital is where President Obiang locks up his opponents. When he seized power from his uncle 25 years ago, he kept him here for a couple of days and then had him executed. No wonder many in opposition to Obiang today have fled here, Madrid, Spain, the former colonial power.
The way Obiang is taking all the country, including natural resources, he genuinely believes that this country belongs to him.
In your democracy, sir, in the late 90s...
The president also believes he's sharing those resources. At least that's what he told Bob Simon from CBS 60 Minutes in an interview last year.
Ha sido para nosotros como el maná.
The oil has been for us like manna that the Jews ate in the desert. We have to follow the rules to make sure the manna reaches all the people in Equatorial Guinea.
See, now he's getting all Christian. Trying to, hit him with the Bible, talking about the oil is like the manna that God, gave to the Israelites when they were in the desert, the unleavened bread. This doesn't make sense. Bernard said, African must never go there. You might get injured and have to go to the hospital. Hey, they don't have one, according to what we're hearing here. Yeah, I wouldn't want that to happen either.
The oil companies make sure the manna reaches at least as far as him.
Yes, full of sports. Yes, it's been a family affair all along. The uncle was in charge, the nephew got rid of the uncle, and now I think he wants to hold on to power stronger because his son is the vice president. I guess nobody else is qualified to run that country other than them and their family, just like North Korea.
In America, it's red carpet treatment for the president all the way.
And I remember the president has a very fine collection of Scotch whiskey.
Obiang was even a guest at this function when Big Oil paraded its biggest and most powerful friend.
The President of the United States, George Bush.
Do you have any qualms about doing business there?
It's a matter of you have to.
Mr. Stephen Hayes runs America's Corporate Council on Africa. The council lobbies for American oil. I mean, is there any depth to which you will not sink? I mean, would you do business with this man, Obiang, no matter how corrupt he is?
I think that at some point, again, that's a good question. Is there any level at which any oil company in the world wouldn't do business with where there's that much oil? I don't know. Your position is that we shouldn't be taking oil from Equatorial Guinea.
No, sir, no.
It is that position because there's no other choice.
Well, let me tell you my position. So my position is there should be some morality in this, and there should be a level below which you won't sink. And you've sunk to unbelievable depths in dealing with such a corrupt and cruel dictator as Obiang.
Well, I don't agree with it.
What, the cruel bit or the corrupt bit?
No, I don't. I don't agree that American companies are not following the Fair Trade Practices Act.
As you can see, these companies, they don't care. They would do business with anyone. But you see, the journalist is asking him very, very tough questions. Those questions need answers. I wish more Africans can ask corrupt Africans this type of questions. and forget this idea of, oh, we all Africans, or same skin color. Oh, you see, the white man ask the white man very tough questions that needs answers. So yeah, these companies, they don't care. They would deal, they would deal with murderers, brutal dictators, you name it. As long as those countries have what they want, they'll go for it.
It turns out President Obiang does lots and lots of business in Washington, oil business and private business. The ritzy part of the most important city in the world, Washington, is, well, very ritzy. And when it comes to a good address, there are a few better places than here, DuPont Circle. On this circle, there's one particularly interesting building, the DuPont Circle branch of Riggs Bank. Never heard of it? Well, if you're a member of the Saudi royal family, you would have, because many of them do their private banking here, as does President Obiang. Obiang controls.
See, Washington, D.C., that's where a lot of these dictators, tyrants around the world, they come to. That's where they invest. That's where they have mansions at. So this man, he is doing a wonderful job. This is what you call investigative journalism. It's not one of those things where people just are in their feelings, wanting to argue, to talk off the cuff. No, this man, he is showing us exactly where the bank accounts are located, what the country looks like. And he's going to show us even more stuff that most of you, it's going to blow your mind. Things that I didn't even cover in the last broadcast. So this short documentary here is brand new. Brand new. This is not like last year, 2 months ago, a week ago.
In excess of 60 accounts at this bank, including the one where oil companies deposit royalty payments. In some accounts, the balances run to hundreds of millions of dollars. In such circumstances, I guess it's understandable that the president would equip himself with a mansion like this just outside Washington. But it's a silly president who forgets to lock the front gate.
So people, okay, if you are an African in these countries and you're seeing the dictators, the presidents, the people in charge, when they steal the money, they are taking it to, guess where? Washington, Paris, London. But then people are questioning you, an ordinary citizen who lives in those countries that are destitute, they live it in poverty, to come to these places, and they question you for being there. Does that even make sense? So he has his own, he has mentioned in DC bank accounts, just like the former Gambian dictator Yahya Jammeh that used to live there. He's still there. But when he was president, he had a mansion, guess where? In Virginia, same area, Potomac. This is where they all spend their money.
Hello. Good morning. Is President Obiang in, please? Hello, how do you do? A caretaker eventually emerged from a garage, so I got a glimpse of the presidential fleet. And since the president was not in when I dropped by, the same caretaker very kindly arranged for me to speak with a government representative on the phone. Who is this?
Yes, my friend.
Your friend? What's your friend's name?
You can. Teodoro here.
Oh, you're the ambassador. Oh, I see. You're the president's cousin.
Oh, that's the ambassador who apparently my name was sent to. So, you guys know the ambassador is the president's cousin as well. So this is a family affair, a country ran by one family where everybody is related. The caretaker they put in the house. You see, they don't even trust bringing in people that live in America. They brought their own probably cousin from Equatorial Guinea and put him there. So everybody has to be related in this government. I mean, I should call it the crime family.
Oh, goodness gracious me. Well, Mr. Ambassador, tell me, how much money has the president got in his Riggs bank account at the moment? The FBI is trying to trace cash movements in and out of that account. So, Mr. Ambassador, are you still there? And whether it's the oil companies making the cash payments.
The ambassador had technical difficulties with his network the moment he started asking those questions, because he dare not answer that because his head would be on a plate. So he just hung up. But this man here is doing a great job, uncovering all this.
President Obiang and his family must enjoy the lifestyles of the rich and famous. Otherwise, why would he have another mansion just down the road? And across the continent, another. Los Angeles' luxurious Beverly Hills area is home for Teodoro Jr. Remember him? He's the son who likes the fast cars and fancy suits. Swimming pools, movie stars, and an African prince. Where is the owner of the property?
This is the African prince.
An African prince?
Yeah.
They had a Guatemalan security guard. So you guys can see, they don't only have mansions in the East Coast like DC area. They went across in California. Of course, his son, since he's into Hollywood, he wants to be a movie star. They call him the African prince. He got a huge mansion. That's what you're seeing here in LA. So these people, they see themselves as royalty, not president. Calling him president is an insult. You guys thought I was making this up, right? Now you are seeing for yourself. The African prince. That's the title they gave him in LA.
Back home in Equatorial Guinea's slums, last year the economy grew a massive 60%. It is the fastest growing economy on earth. Near to none of the country's 500,000 people see a brass razoo from this. Why don't you do the right thing? Get out of Equatorial Guinea, turn your back on this corrupt dictator.
Let's assume that every oil company, U.S. oil company, gets out. How fast do you think it would be before the French and other international oil companies are in there? A second. So what really changes in Equatorial Guinea?
See, that's it. It is such a tiny place. It should be another Kuwait.
If everyone did the right thing, yes, and the fact is that almost no one is doing exactly the right thing.
By associating with this murderous criminal tyrant, we in the West are party to a disgrace and contributing to a disaster in the making.
People, now you've seen exactly what I was talking about the other day. It cannot get any clearer than this. So the people, for instance, you guys just heard it. Their economy is the fastest growing economy in the world. Economy, meaning they are making, their oil is favorable. They are supposed to be rich. But look at the way the people are living. Just look at it. It's sad. They are poor, destitute. I'm going to drop the link here. So, invite calls in and tell me what you've seen. How do you feel about this? And, think about what I said before. Is this good reason for some of these African nations with dictators like this? They are better off being under, the Spanish colonialists that colonized the country in the past. So hit the link, Come on in. Don't be afraid. Speak about what you just saw here. I mean, on paper, the country looks like, if you see, they're saying, oh, they are growing. They are growing, but are they really growing? Are they really growing? Only the son and father are the ones growing. Nobody else is. They want to live like movie stars. They want to live like royalty. They want to copy everything except being themselves. They left their people in slums, poverty-ridden. And some of their citizens have to sell fish in the Western world. All kinds of things. It is a sad situation, ladies and gentlemen. It is very sad. Unfortunately, this is the story for many African countries. This one is just worse than others. Because you see, in many other African countries, if they want to pull this off, there would be an uprising. Yes, there is corruption in many of these countries. But these people, they took it to a whole new level. And you know, the day that the people find the courage and rise up against them and topple their reign, all those mansions that they have here in America, guess what? Will be confiscated. And you know what? I believe like these corporations, the governments, they don't care because they're getting what they want from these African countries. So they're gonna turn a blind eye. But do you need outsiders to hold you accountable for what you are doing to your own people? That's my question. Do you need outsiders to do that for you? So it's amazing to see when people try to come and say, oh no, they're just making this up. This is not made up. If I was just reading a paper, you could say, oh no, you're just talking. This is not real. But you're seeing it on film, unfiltered. You've seen the mansions, the shopping sprees, while children are digging in trash heaps in their own countries, depriving the people from getting electricity, depriving them from getting their daily living. This is sick at best. That's why, I read the other day, that the AU, now they said they want to implement visa-free, between African countries. And I say to places like South Africa, that's a bad idea because, South Africa and these other countries, guess what? Guess where everyone is going to flood to? Your country. They all want to come there. You don't see South Africans going to Nigeria, Ghana, and all these other places, Senegal, Gambia. They're cool with being in their country. But if South Africa, you guys allowed your people to negotiate and you guys make the mistake and say, anyone can come as long as they're African, your country will be flooded. You guys think you have Zimbabwean problem right now? You guys are, every Joe Blow from west, east, south, they are going to buy their ticket and head to South Africa. And it would be worse than apartheid that you guys got rid of. Because this time around, you're going to have people that look like you. They're eventually gonna, completely bastardize your culture and destroy the original South Africa. So I get it when they want to talk about, when they want to talk about this visa-free thing, look at the people promoting it. Just look at them. Look at the countries they came from. They are trying to push their people over to your country. When I read it, I was like, oh, this is something about, they're trying to flood South Africa. But now, do you think anyone is going to go to Equatorial Guinea? Who is going there? Nobody's going over there. I mean, maybe the only thing, some of their people, if they are smart, they can escape, that hellhole and go find a better life elsewhere, since the Teodoro, the Obiangs are holding the system hostage. Because you guys heard it. He's the African prince. So the corruption around these nations in Africa is just what is holding Africa back. The mindset is not changing. Greed, everyone wants to be the one in charge. They have no vision for the people. Let me see. Bernard said, Freedomus, imagine groups of Congolese flooding into Gambia. Exactly. Gambia, a tiny little country. Pretty soon, the whole country will be speaking Lingala. Okay? So yeah, instead of African, this AU, instead of talking about the cause of real poverty in Africa, which is these dictatorships, they're not going to talk about that, because the dictators themselves are the ones in charge. They want to talk about, oh, we're going to do visa-free zones. And to the regular mind, they're like, oh, all of us Africans, need to unite. How about you unite the people in your country? How about you unite them with what is rightfully theirs? How about you unite them with that oil money? That's what they need to be doing. That's what they need to be doing. But oh no, they are busy. They are busy talking about things that will never ever make sense. So that's why, when I ask questions, people get upset when I hear unity. When I say, what are we uniting on? What are we uniting on? Do you want to unite with a country, for instance, like Equatorial Guinea, where you have a dictator in charge? The dictator is literally the owner of the country. What are you guys uniting on? Absolutely nothing. How can you even be friends with somebody like that and not be able to tell them the truth? How is that even possible? For instance, the former dictator from the Gambia, the country where I come from, he is currently in Equatorial Guinea. He used the Gambian people's money, bought himself a mansion in Potomac, in the DC area, Virginia. So I saw that reported somewhere on the news. Some of the people, they're like, oh, the white people are here tarnishing Africans' image. Are you kidding me? Ask the people that live in that country if that is true or not. It's always somebody who isn't from that place. McMeasy said Equatorial Guinea leadership is corrupt. Man, they are beyond corrupt. Beyond corrupt. And I'm going to borrow McMeasy's favorite word. When you talk about these things, you have the internet Africans come up and try to deny it. They try to deny it. So it tells you either these people, they are short-sighted, ignorant, and don't know what is possible for these countries in Africa. As long as they continue to have these dictators in Africa, all that, mineral resources, the oil, the gas that the people hear about, it means absolutely nothing. I mean, a continent rich in mineral and oil still begging. People, think about that for a minute. That's a curse, if you ask me. And he wants to use biblical terms, talking about when it's like the manna that God gave to the Israelites to share with the people. From what you guys can see, are they sharing it? Are they sharing it with the people? I mean, imagine the type of poverty people that you just saw in that country, and the dictators, they are living lavishly. They have mansions. People, that should make you sick to your stomach. That's beyond wickedness. How is that different from what King Leopold did in the Congo? How is that different? The only difference is he's not Equatorial Guinea, they are not sending people into the forest to go harvest, rubber sap. But I bet you if they needed to do that for money, they would do the same thing. Because, if they have no problem keeping the manna for themselves, meaning the oil for themselves, if they have no problem doing that while watching their people suffer, can you put anything past them? Can you put anything past them? I wouldn't. And as far as Exxon Mobil, Shell, BP, all these oil companies, clearly they don't care. They do not care. They are just there to make their money. Because you heard the man, he said, look, if we pull out, the French, the Germans, and others, they would come in just like that. They wouldn't waste any time. So I always try to bring topics to make people think about the root cause of things. And this is the root cause of African countries' poverty that you're seeing today. It is not colonialism. Colonialism has been over with. When the Spanish colonized that country, they didn't have oil. They weren't wealthy. This wealth appeared under this very dictator that is there today. It's not like the oil was there and then the Spanish siphoned all of it. No. Years later, after Spanish colonialism came to an end, oil appeared. But the richer they become, I mean, the country's supposed to be, the poorer the regular people are. Think about that for a minute. Talk about, being given dealt with with the best hand, and you somehow turn it to the worst. We have Diogo in the house. I'm going to bring Diogo in. Diogo, welcome to the show.
What's good, Damas? How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Diogo, have you seen the short documentary, the investigative journalism that, that I played here?
I've seen a little bit. I've seen a little bit of it.
So, Diogo, from what you've seen, because if you look at it, Equatorial Guinea, they have plenty of oil. The amount of wealth that is coming in, literally, they have the potential to become not only the richest country in Africa, among the richest in the world, but somehow They are dictators. They are short-sighted. All they care about is material goods just for themselves and leaving the people in poverty. What, if you're in Africa, would you agree with me that the root cause of poverty in Africa today has nothing to do with colonialism?
Of course, it never had anything to do with colonialism, to be honest. It's not just a thing of today.
Yeah.
I believe that this thing stems from, like I told you last week, the African people just don't like to think, man. So you have a political leader that doesn't like to think. Because imagine this, Afrodamus. Imagine Sierra Leone and Nigeria joining forces just to control 30% of the oil output in the world. These countries will be super rich.
Right.
You see, so it doesn't make sense for my country doesn't import oil from Sierra Leone or Nigeria. You see, the Americans buy from the Nigerians because the naira is inflated. The currency is low in Nigeria. The Americans buy from Nigerians, then sell it to us. So this is how it works. Why don't the Nigerians sell directly to us? This is the question.
But you see, the thing is, despite having oil, for example, like Equatorial Guinea, did you see any part where they are trying to, find a way for themselves to be in charge? Like Libya did back in the days, Muammar Gaddafi, to share the oil wealth. They're not doing that because they are making this a family affair. As you can see, the country is literally owned by one man, his son, and their family members. That's what we are seeing. So, Diego, do you see any hope? Do you see any hope in these countries where they have so much resources, but their people are among the poorest people on the face of this earth? Do you see anything positive happening for them?
Well, it might happen, but as things go, I will bet on not happening. You never know. It might change, but if I had to put my money, I would say it wouldn't change. You understand? So yeah, I don't see it changing anywhere soon. But it stems from the problem of I believe that African people don't know how to create an economic machine. Understand?
Right.
We just don't know how to create an economy. You see that will be profitable for everybody. This is just the truth. I'm telling you. For example, my country. My country now is operating on debt. So what do I mean by that is we have a GDP of 14 billion. You see, but 100% of it is not ours. You see, all the GDP is money borrowed. They gotta use money borrowed. So we just don't know how to create this stuff, and this is why. So the African fought to be independent so that he could be dependent. Is something I say of.
But another idea here. Diego, I talked about why African countries. I said some of these African countries need to be recolonized, and people got mad at me because they are all in their feelings. They are not looking at the intricate parts of what I'm talking about here, because the dictators we have, people in charge, when they steal from the people, where do they spend their money at? Where do they keep the money?
Yeah,
they don't keep it in African countries. They take it to the quote unquote the colonialists, right?
I actually believe that if Africa was recolonized again, it would be better for the African. The African will be actually he will have more chances of success in life rather than having being administrated by African. I believe that Africans will have more chances in life if actually the Europeans colonize them. Because for my country, you can ask anybody that lived here during colonization, things were moving. You understand? People worked, things were moving, but now everything is stagnant.
Look,
so
Diego,
in my book,
there's a reason why Well, there's a reason why I say the things I say, because I go in, I do my research, I compare the colonial economies in most of Africa. Okay. Like some places
Yeah.
it was bad, but for the most part, I compare it and people's living, their salary, right? So life
Yeah.
declined. I'm talking about salary. When the Africans became rule these places, the salary went down for the people, the civil servant. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
the economy the growth, completely went down. And and you're over here confirming exactly what I'm saying. Because you look at Equatorial Guinea, I showed it here. The nicest buildings in the country were the ones built by the Spanish colonialists. Even though
Same
now
in
they
my
are
country.
they are rich, even though they are rich now, the nicest buildings were built by the Spanish colonialists.
Yeah.
How is that possible? Maybe it is time for Africans to just accept that they are just consumers and allow the white people to come back and take charge.
No, I agree with you. You know, like I told you, man, we just don't like to think, Afrodamus. This is just the truth I have to tell you, man. We don't
No,
like
it's
to
the
think as
fact.
African people, man.
Yeah, great observation
You,
there.
you cannot, we cannot fight this thing, man. Everybody who actually reads and such, you will realize that as Africans, we don't like to think. It starts from that problem. We don't like to use our brains, man. So I definitely agree with you. I believe that if the European colonized the African, he will have more chances to actually thrive in his own nation. You see, so this is how I see it as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's because obviously, the things we're seeing around Africa, this is not just in one country. When you travel around, you see the same exact thing in different countries. Diego, the AU
Yeah,
just talked about, they want to do a visa-free travel in Africa. And I just said
yeah.
that's a bad idea because places like South Africa, people are gonna, flood those countries.
It's a bad,
Uh,
very bad. It's a bad idea, man. I actually commented on a YouTube channel saying this is one of the worst ideas I heard this year.
mhm.
Because first of all, the governments did not create infrastructure that will benefit the African to actually have such a visa. This is just the truth. So it's a waste of time. Plus,
Mhm.
our economies will not allow us to thrive, to travel, to contribute to other economies because we don't have money. So you'll have people running away from their countries to countries with better economies. And this is what's happening in South Africa. So it will create just a scenario in which we as Africans will fight. And this goes back to the topic I told you yesterday, the last week, that the borders made the Africans stop fighting against each other.
Ex-
And without,
exactly. It's funny when people say, "Oh, Africans were united back in those days," before those borders. I'm like, those borders actually brought peace. But just like African Parasite said here, right? He said, I can't believe there is people who take Africa visa free realistic. If that ever happens, the African landmass will be on fire. Somalis and Ethiopians will rush to have Kenya under their control. I totally agree. I totally agree because the safest thing is to keep Africans away from each other. That's what's keeping
that's
that's
the
what's
truth.
keeping peace. That's what's keeping peace
Yeah.
in Africa. Even the little piece that you see, that's what's keeping it there. People don't understand that. That's why when I
Yes.
see people come on the internet saying, "Oh, we are all one because of skin color," well, go to Equatorial Guinea and tell the Obiangs that.
Now, Afrodamus, I will explain to you something that most people don't know, but it's something I tell that the thing about us Africans is we're very hypocrites. We're hypocrites.
Mhm.
If you know
Yes.
this stuff, because think about it. If something good happens, an African does something well, we'll say, "Oh, this is our African brother. This is our African
Mhm.
brother." Now, as another African from a different country does something bad, now we're no, that guy is from Rwanda, he's from Zimbabwe. You see, now
Yeah.
he's not our brother. He's from other country. So the African will always look for unity when something good is happening, but this is not reality of life. This is why they say
It's
good friends you see on bad moments. you know.
well, well, you remember last week here, I mean, your network was having issues, but the same thing I was talking about these dictators once again. And unfortunately, I see people, some few, in the minority, they were trying to defend this and try to say it is white people who are causing this problem. And I'm at a point where, for example, they're like, "Oh, Afridamus, you don't talk bad about white people. Why do I need to talk bad about white people or not? I'm just speaking of what
Well,
I'm seeing every time,
they,
because
they
Africans don't have this you know they don't have this news source even on YouTube where they are willing to speak
yeah.
the unwavering truth. If we all follow that pattern and say, "Oh, kumbaya," they don't want to talk about 2021 because this documentary I just showed is less than a week old. They want to deflect and talk about Mansa Musa. They want to talk about we built the pyramids. Okay, you built the pyramid, but you can't even build roads today. How does that even make sense? You see? So so
yeah.
so for me, I'm glad you pointed that out, like the hypocrisy, is disgusting because it's like, like they cannot look beyond themselves. Everything is someone
Yeah.
else's fault. Even this Obiang stealing, they're gonna say the white man made them do it. Now, they're talking about, "Oh, we need visa free around Africa." And I noticed the people that push this, they are from countries where they're the ones they don't like to stay in their countries. They would flood South Africa, especially. South
No,
Africans don't
that's the
South
the
Africans
the
don't
the
say,
gateway to heaven.
yeah. South Africans that are watching me, don't say Afridamus did not warn us. You guys need to write to your people and tell them, you better keep your mouth off of this visa free talk. We do not
Yeah.
need this because it's
But
going
but
to
you
be
know,
a disaster.
yeah, but you know what, for Damus, for these Africans blaming the white men for what's happening with them, I just ask them, do they realize that 60 to 70% of their GDPs is actually money that the white men borrowed them? I think they don't
Yeah.
realize this stuff. I think they don't realize this stuff. So I believe that if it wasn't for the white men, the Africa actually they will be poorer in terms of from independence till today. If it wasn't for the money that the whites borrowed and the projects that the whites are doing in their countries, I believe that they will be in a poor situation.
Well, okay. Just like the Equatorial Guinea situation that we're dealing with here, they are much poorer today than, mind you, they found oil, right? They are much poorer
Yeah,
than that prior to having oil. Think about that for a minute. They are much poorer.
yeah.
That is a disgrace. So that's why, this travel stuff around. Let me see here. The South African is against Pan-Africanism. Yes, definitely. We should stop speaking in that manner. If we truly want people to know the truth, about Africa, because you have few people that are holding Africa hostage. I think the Africans' own mind, the Africans' way of thinking is holding Africa back because there are
Yeah, it's their
people,
way of thinking.
yeah, there are people who are going to totally defend this. In fact, they're going to say, oh, Afridamus is jealous because he's not living like those people, like, you know, the fake prince. I mean, like, because that's all they have in their vocabulary. Oh, you are
Yeah.
jealous. Everything, if you speak truth, you are jealous. Oh, it's just the white man, you know, trying to tarnish the image of African countries. But how come we never see other Africans really going deep, trying to find out about why these countries are poor? You
Because
see?
they don't like reading. This is pretty simple. I challenge you to ask any African to show you a picture of his library at his house. He doesn't have 5 books. He doesn't. So how do you expect him to know what's going on?
You know, that I know for a fact, you know, because many, especially when they come online, you know, and when I say things, they get offended. I get it. I said, you know, I'm dealing with a very, you know, illiterate, functional people who, you know, they don't take everything is based on feelings. You know,
Yeah.
if you start talking about facts, if you start talking about facts, they are going to want to kill you. That's the first thing they think about. We gotta get rid of this person. And you cannot change a place without changing the minds of the people. The mind has to change, the thought process has to change. You know, like when people say talk about something that is positive, there's too many of these channels who are very ignorant of the reality. They base things on on entertainment only. They just want to sit there and say, you know, oh, we are all the same, we all combine, but that doesn't match the reality. It doesn't
Yeah.
match reality. Go tell that to those students in Equatorial Guinea that literally they have to go catch the light flickers to study. Go tell that to those people
Yeah.
while
You
their
know,
dictators are out there, you know, squandering their money.
you know, Afrodamus, my father, he is 55 years old. You know, when he was young, he had to walk kilometers to go to school. You still have people today, and mind you, he was 8 when he had to do that. You still have people today in my country, where he's from, his city, having to do the same thing, walking the same kilometers to go to school.
Wow.
I'm talking
No
about
school
45
bus.
years. Yeah. I'm talking about 45 years. So where's the development there? We're going, we'll get to the 22nd century Afrodamos still tackling the same problems as Africa.
Look,
And this is the
Diego,
problem.
see, they don't like to see the obvious. I
Yeah.
call things for what they really are. Like tomorrow, Saturday, in Gambia, my country, they are holding a presidential election. And I saw a picture, you know, where they said, oh, the international election observers are here, the EU, they are all white people, right? Step one,
Yeah.
African countries that you can control, you cannot even have a robust economy on your own thinking. That you have to rely on the white man, you have to borrow from the white man. Even your election, the white man have to observe it for it to be legit, for you guys to conduct yourself. So why are people upset when I point out that it's better off to have the white man run the show instead of them putting, you know, people in charge who don't know what they are talking about?
It's because of emotionalism. You know, it's the emotionalism. This is the thing. My dream of freedom is for black people to start being realistic. I believe that if they start being realistic, a lot of things will change. You know, but they think they have superpowers or things like that. It doesn't work like that. I was seeing on Twitter people saying that next year in a certain month blacks will have power from the ancestors. Look,
Wait. They still, you know, you notice when people start doing that ancestor stuff. You remember, another guy that does that, to Niger. He talks about that ancestor BS thing. Like, I'm like, look, let's not get into those kind of talk. Let's talk about today. Because I have shown here those same ancestors you're talking about who sold, by the way, 40 human beings for an umbrella, 10 human beings for a bottle of whiskey. You mean those people? Let's just not talk about that. You see what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
they are convinced that. So when somebody comes to me and said those people are smarter than they are today, I rest my case. I don't need to talk to those people. Plain and simple. I don't need to talk to those people. See, they confuse thing to say. Okay, they're like, oh, without your ancestors, you wouldn't be alive. Hey, without anybody's ancestors, you wouldn't be alive. We came from a group of people, but that's where it stops. You have to live your own life and make the changes, because someday you're going to be somebody else's ancestor. So you gotta
Yeah.
do, the smart thing. You
And,
learn from the past. You learn from the past. You want to improve more than the past. But they're saying, oh, we're
yes.
getting powers. What powers are they gonna get from the ancestor? Selling human beings?
You know, I don't know what they're thinking. This is what I have to. It's this thing. I'm telling you, blacks gotta start being realistic. When I say black, I'm saying all
Oh
from
yeah,
all over the world. Not,
right.
we need to start being realistic and seeing things for what they truly are. You know, because this is why I say a lot of people think Christianity was a bad thing. No, no. The problem is with the African emotionalism and his way of seeing life, Christianity turns into a problem for him. Because
Yes.
when the whites brought Christianity to Africa, was not intended to be how these pastors are making Christianity to be. This wasn't the game. But the African and his way of thinking and his emotionalism is what makes Christianity be what he is and be poisonous for him. But it wouldn't be poisonous for him.
You know, I had this conversation with two ladies before. They tried to team up on me, a Nigerian and a Zimbabwean woman. They,
Yeah.
because they all want to act Christian, but they started talking, and they're just speaking from emotion that they are Christians. But I read the Bible, the old, the new, and the old and the New Testament. So, but
Yeah.
these women, what they do is they use scriptures, you know, they use it in the form of witchcraft, because the African cannot stop practicing witchcraft.
Now he
So
will never stop doing that.
what they practice,
You know,
is
just can I
witchcraft, but
just
they
tell you
call it
something?
Christianity. Mhm.
Yeah, let me tell you something. The Africans, they don't understand their tradition. You see, when they get married and they do the lobolo, do you know why people ask for goats? They don't know this stuff. People ask for goats because the blood of goats in the spiritual world gives you protection, but they don't know this stuff. You see, people just are laughing at the African is giving goats. No, the goats give you spiritual protection. You see, this is why
Yeah,
they
this
ask for
is
goats, but they don't know this stuff. You see,
it's sad. We
they don't
have
know this
John
stuff.
Smith here in the house. John Smith, welcome in the show.
Yeah, how are you, Mr. Afrodamis? How
I'm
are you?
doing well. I'm doing well. Is this SA Red Pill?
Yeah, I said it on the back chat. Yeah, it's me.
Oh, SA Red Pill. Welcome, welcome.
Cool. I started noticing that the word red pill. This is a lot of people, so I was like, let me use another thing. Let me use another name. There's something I don't know if you guys were done with your conversation. There's something I wanted to mention on what your conversation you were having. Um, you remember that time I found you on Cedric's room, clubhouse room. Cedric, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember this time when I was having a discussion with him because he was asking about South Africa.
Yeah.
And I remember he was talking about land, right? And I was telling him, listen, bruh, all of this is just a ploy. Like, the thing is, a lot of these parties in SA, they know very well black people. I mean, black people, black politicians or black people don't read, don't investigate shit. They just listen to things and
Oh,
emotions.
John, are you like driving?
No. I mean, are you getting a feedback or something?
It's windy.
Oh no, it's probably my fan. I have a fan here.
Yeah,
But
you said your fan
yeah, it's a
is
fan.
blowing it's blowing hard. We want to.
No,
I want.
what I'm saying is no, because I listened to the part where you're talking about like let's just let white people rule the elections in Gambia.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like I'm saying I understand what you're saying because the thing is, what is this land that? No, I was just linked to like I understood what you're saying. Like this, it's the same thing with land in South Africa. I'm not saying that people whose land we're taking should not be given back, but this land thing will not help you with anything. Land in South Africa contributes 2.4% in GDP, like less than 2.4%. You won't end poverty in South Africa.
And John, what are you fighting with over there? If you can move from your fan, because what you're saying is interesting. We want to hear you. And whatever you're fighting with there, put it aside. Go ahead.
Well, what about now? What about now, sir? What about now?
Much better.
Yeah, no, I was just saying I understood your point. I was listening a little bit, so I was like breaking that up. But are you? Are there any political killings in Gambia, sir?
Are there? There used to be. There has been. Not of late. I haven't heard any. But what I was saying is like I literally saw where, because so you see things unfolding, but you are not allowed to point it out for what it is. Because if you say you're running a country, you are independent whatsoever, now the white people have to come, EU, to make sure that you guys are conducting your a free and fair election. When did you ever hear, EU country, Germany, France, any of them, holding election? They are like, oh, let's wait for the African party to come and confirm. Nobody's calling Africans when it comes to, confirming if something is being done the right way. Name a place that is calling Africans to come and be the ones, conducting it. If anyone knows any country, please enlighten me.
But my question: don't you think Europe at least respects Rwanda though, out of all the countries?
They what?
Like they respect Rwanda though. I feel like Rwanda is going on that stage. I say it as the only country that.
Rwanda?
Yeah, Rwanda.
You think European countries are going to call Rwanda to come and observe their elections to confirm if they are doing it right?
No. Of course not. No, I'm just saying that because what you're saying obviously is implying that it takes obviously a level of I don't respect you because
look,
I feed you, right?
John,
That's what you're implying, right?
John, they do not like what you're saying. They don't take this country serious. Africans are just fooling themselves until the African changes the way of doing things. Like people are seeing what is happening. You've seen African dictators taking their money, going to these European countries, America here, just spending it lavishly. These people are into material things. They're not thinking about improving their own people. Do you think even the people they are spending their money to are respecting them? They are looking at them like fools. Because they are like, hey, the moment their people rise up against them, guess what? Half of this money stays here. That's what happens. Because look Even when they kick these dictators out, the places that they bought houses in, because first of all, they're not, if they buy houses here in America, they're not coming here. Like our former dictator Yahya Jammeh, he has a mansion here in America. When he was removed, he didn't come to America. How come? He could have just come and chill in his mansion. But he knows he's going to jail. Mobutu Sese Seko stole so much money from Congo, have mentioned in Switzerland, France, places. When they kicked him out, do you think he went to those places? He didn't. Because he knows when he gets there, he's going to go to prison. So these guys, they know. And you would think, people are watching this, Africans are like, oh no, we saw what happened is going to change. The next guy that comes is even becomes worst. So, like Equatorial Guinea, they removed Marcius Nguema because they said he was a brutal dictator. His own nephew that replaced him, he's not only a brutal dictator, he kept the people in poverty. This Marcius Nguema was a lunatic. That man was crazy, because this man, even if they see you reading, Romeo and Juliet, is a threat to him. You're going to jail for that. You're not allowed to read. People think I'm joking, but you need to go check this out. He didn't trust people who knew how to read. Okay?
Mr. Afrodamis, you know what I've noticed? Is that you actually know more about Africa than many of the so-called Pan-Africanists that we always hear about. Like you because you go into details, and I'm just thinking like many of these Pan-Africanists, that want to be social experts or what, they'll never know the details. To them, the only thing they have to know about a country is that there are black people that live there and then they're oppressed by the white man.
Yeah, well, it's all for them. It's just a fantasy. They are not realistic. Because they are just looking at it through the prism of skin color, and to me that means absolutely nothing. The thought process, the character, the way people do things, beats skin color any day. Is more, is beyond that. Because most of the the Pan-Africanists, you look at them, the concept, they don't understand that these are countries. They are different countries. They think that Africa is one and the same. They even tell themselves these false stories that, oh, Africa was one until 1884. The white man came and partitioned Africa. That is the biggest joke. Like, don't you know 1884 was a blessing for African countries putting borders? If there's no borders, Africans pouring into several African countries, don't you think that, don't you know that's a disaster? It is not safe to have, Africans around each other. I don't think these people even
It's a
understand this.
very, very true. For example, I'm of the Venda tribe in South Africa. And this is just some honesty. I just obviously analyze myself, and nobody wants to say this. If the British Empire never came to South Africa, right? Like never, because they came with the booze, I would not exist, because
Right.
Shaka Zulu does not keep prisoners. He
Right.
doesn't. He doesn't do what our whites do, and they push you away into. Yes, it was messed up apartheid and stuff, but they at least push you away into your own box. He kills. You're not Zulu. He stabs you. In fact,
Well,
and it's
that's what the Pan-Africanists don't understand, how ancient African wars operate. You're right. These people, they don't take no prisoners. How do you think even slavery, the people they were selling, what do you think they were? These are people captured in wars, majority of them. You know,
If
so they are
African
like, hey,
Americans went, you're right. If
yeah,
African Americans went sold, they'll be dead.
yeah, those people, if they couldn't find buyers for them, yes, they would have killed them. That's a fact. So,
It's sad, but it's a reality. It is. You know, this is something I once got kicked out of a club room for saying. Like, this is the reality. You coming here with this Pan African, they would have killed you.
let's look at even in various African countries, you know, the instabilities there. Um, for example, even in 1994, you know, the in Rwanda, the Hutus and the Tutsis, how quickly that became brutal. You know,
Exactly.
you go to Liberia, the Civil War, there was a huge element of, you know, tribalism there, as one tribe against another. Sierra Leone, which I have witnessed there, there's a huge element of tribalism there. Even like in this Gambian election that's happening tomorrow, I'm listening to the different parties talking. You know, there's one of them, the ruling party, one of their speakers said, if people don't vote for the president that is there today, any tribe that doesn't belong to the Mandinka tribe, which is the majority tribe, they will be deported. So it's like, okay, these people don't even make sense. They will be deported.
So,
Where will they be deported to? Where to?
so,
So
so
then,
can I ask questions about Gambia, sir?
yeah,
Because well, it sounds like to me like tribalism is like tribalism exists in SA, right? But it's not blatant. Like it's like that whole it's hidden type of thing. And then at some point I would say doesn't that exist as much at higher classes like rich vendors and Zulus don't see tribe as much, right? But
right.
to you, when I hear you speak, it's almost like it's never. I don't think it's like I personally, because I've never long lived long in another country. When you say this, it's damn near hard for me to believe that you're telling me there's a guy out there who said, "My, if you don't do this, this specific tribe will be deported."
Yeah,
Like,
like, so the people there, right? They, you know, they get along, don't get me wrong, but the politicians, every election, even the one before this, you know, I've heard so much tribalism. You know, like the former president that was in charge, he said he's going to deport all the Mandinkas, that's the largest group, to Mali. And now this other guy, he say, if you don't vote any tribe that is not Mandinka, you know, to vote for the current president, other party wins, those people would deport anyone who's not Mandinka. And I was thinking about it. I said, okay, where are you going to deport these people to? So it's like, so when people talk about this, saying all Africans are united, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Go listen to African politics and hear the things that are being said, and you will understand why certain times you would see these countries, people take machetes on each other because of things like this. You know, they say
Yeah.
things like this, you know, like they point at certain group and say, you are not from here, you know, so you're going to deport those people. Where are you going to deport them to? You see, that doesn't even make sense. So this is that's why I call it primitive politics. The Africans mindset have not changed. These are people who are not educated, so they are not up to
yeah.
par, you know. They are not with the 21st century that we are with here. They run
But
things
but
in the primitive way. Go ahead, Diego.
you know, I wouldn't even say that they are not educated. I believe that if you want to lead the African, you gotta be dumb. It's something I
I
gotta tell
agree.
you. You can
Diego, you know
you,
what, Diego, I agree with you. After, like, I've been listening to the political speeches, there's nothing there where people have like vision. Everything is personal attack. This person is gonna get deported. This person, this, you know, I'm like, come on, you know, like what is going on? And the president talking about when he was a kid, he climbed up a tree that is 500 meters, 500 meters tree. Come on, man. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, those kind of stuff. It's just, I mean,
Because
I don't see any hope there.
think about it, for them. For example, Equatorial Guinea. Let's say the president is running an election. Do you believe that the people he will talk with will believe about the prices, what changes the price of oil and this thing, how can it affect the economy? Most Africans don't know this stuff.
No,
So he has
no.
to speak about this stuff. This is why Africans vote for people. For the African to vote for you, just give him a t-shirt and a bag of rice. He will vote for you.
Yes.
Because this
Yeah.
is how you live. Does that happen in South Africa, bro?
Oh, bro, we're actually talking about this. I'm from Davis. He was laughing at my country on the
No,
whole. Like,
no.
I know you're crazy, but South Africa. No, so in South Africa, black women, majority voters in South Africa, voted for a rapist, man. They voted for a rapist who said he washed off the HIV from his body. Before he was president, he said this. He said he had sex
Zuma.
with a woman.
It's just
Zuma,
it's just
yeah, just
Jacob
washed it off.
Zuma.
Yeah. I was talking about him, Jacob Zuma. He washed off the HIV, and then he's like, "It's out of my body now. Now I don't have to worry about that." That guy got elected, like by majority. Like my thing is the fact that majority black and women in South Africa voted for him. That's what hits me a lot. Like, so no, this sisterhood. I don't know, or maybe I don't know. Maybe because South Africa is too patriarchal. I don't know. But for sure, I don't know. It makes me ask questions like.
Well, if you look at
Yeah,
it,
no.
the politics, I look around several African countries, it's similar to what I see even in Gambia. All you see is, the people are about entertainment and food. They're just dancing, you know. So, like the person running for election, all you gotta do is, you know, um, give, cook bunch of jollof rice. The people meet, they eat the jollof rice, dance, give people bags of rice. You are in. The political party that doesn't do that, you know they are like, hey, he's talking good, he really knows what he's talking about. I wish he would win, but we would vote for him another time. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, for example, in Equatorial Guinea, Obiang is winning like 99.99% of the votes. If they are even holding elections, you see, who's going to challenge him? It's a one party system. So that's why it's hard to change things around Africa. So when people are talking on the internet, they just go by their feelings, because the type of
Yep.
information that they need to focus on, they're intellectually lazy to go get those information. And when you get the Pan-Africanists, they want to tell you that they built Egypt, they built these places. It's like, okay, I get it. You've been saying this, but how about we talk about where we exist at today, where we are? Like, I can't keep talking about 1865. I don't live in 1865. Let's talk about 2021. What is affecting people today? you know we look at the trajectory of African politics and the politicians, the way the people think, is definitely, the future doesn't look good. Because the thought process in some countries you go to, they would say it is our turn to eat. Like one tribe would be like, it
Yeah.
is our turn. It is our turn to eat.
Your Andrew Bet said that he's
That
a
they
white billionaire in South Africa. But he's obviously had the same joke from black people. It's like, I always hear from the blacks. They talk about, it's time for the vendors to eat. Like, it's wrong for the vendors to eat. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just finding it funny that you said that. Like, it happens in other African countries where people see politics as a tribal thing. Like, now it's this tribe to eat. And sorry, another thing. So, what is your tribe, sir? What is your tribe, Mister? Afro-Damis?
Soninke.
Oh,
My
so
tribe is the,
oh, I thought that was just your name, or it's your tribe, it's your clan name.
yeah, Soninke. That's my tribe, but it's a minority tribe. We don't have people in politics. We're more business savvy. We control the businesses and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. I'm also from minority tribe, man. It's funny we just meet each other. I'm also of a minority tribe. If you can check on Wikipedia, the vendor, it's us and the So
vendors
most
are
South
from
Africans
Limpopo,
can't even speak
right?
it. Yeah, you know a lot about it. Are you from South Africa, man?
Oh yeah.
No, I lived in South Africa.
Oh, Diego, you did?
Yeah, I did for 4 years.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. So you know, Vele, that Limpopo vendors. Most of us are dark skinned, and we get cheated on a lot by all the Tswanas and Zulus because they're lighter in complexion. This does happen, and I normalized it to a point that I noticed that this is actually wrong. Like they're bashing us by actually being looking black in a certain way. But
yeah. See, that's the thing. Is crazy. People don't even understand the dynamics of what makes the mixture over in African countries, because there is so much things you're dealing with. It's just it's hard. If you because okay, for example, John, I wanted to ask you. So in South Africa, because sometimes in the parliament I see white politicians there. So do the black areas, do they vote for the whites?
black people in South Africa, to be honest, majority don't vote, and those that do vote in South Africa, I'm gonna answer your question. So the people that have voted the most, obviously, are the African National Congress, the ANC. So if you're seeing white people there on Parliament, remember the Parliament is full of, it's like a ratio based on how many votes you got, right? So per vote you will have, I don't know, you know the system, right? I don't have to explain. Those white people that you see there, most of them are there because people who voted them in, I'll presume, are probably more coloreds. In the Western Cape, coloreds, mixed people.
Christopher Kane.
Yeah, you know what colors means, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Christopher Kane said, he said over there they call you guys witches in South Africa.
Yeah, they call us witches and stuff, man.
That's crazy.
But not a lot. Okay, but like the thing about tribal is, it's, to be honest, South Africa is not that tribalist, dog. I feel like South Africa, if I'm gonna be honest, because Zulus, you see them subjugating other Zulus. So for South Africa, for most part, I think it's a class thing. There's a big level of classism, to be honest. It's not as tribe. Like tribe does
but when you go to the corporate world in Joburg, the Zulus like undermining the classes in the corporate world in Joburg.
I mean, because Zulus and classes always had beef, man. I mean, during 1994, when Nelson Mandela, people are just talking about Nelson Mandela being president, the Zulus didn't really like that, but they didn't care about the whole white people did to them. They didn't really care about it. They just cared about the fact that they were not going to be ruled by a Xhosa man. And during, I think, my mom told me the story, like they used to hunt down non-Zulu speakers, the IFP. You know the IFP, right? That KZN thing.
Yeah.
They backed up the Boers a lot. They actually used to work with the Dutch in South Africa to attack non-Zulu people. So there's always there's always gonna be that element. But let's be honest, most Zulus are not like that. I mean, not most, but a lot of Zulus are not like that. Yeah, and they fight that off. That's the one I'm saying. Like tribalism is weird because you see Zulus fighting off tribalism. So, and even the ANC thing. You remember in 1994? I mean, Afro-Damo was talking about what was happening in Rwanda. In 1994, there was actually a civil war in KZN, KwaZulu-Natal, it's a province full of Zulus, where ANC Zulus and IFP Zulus were like killing each other because they didn't want like again, a Xhosa man, Nelson Mandela, ruling South Africa. But yeah.
You know why South Africa, I believe, is not as tribal, just like Bernard said, and I believe in that too, is because other races are present. But if
Yeah.
there wasn't other races there, it will be just like the
I'll
other
be dead.
other parts.
They'll kill vendors. All vendors, Tongas, babies, Tswanas will be dead.
Yeah, because if you look at even the country we're talking about here, Equatorial Guinea, their history even they have because the president they are Fang and they have what they call the booby tribe, and the Fangs they kill a bunch of the boobies, you know. So like people don't understand the the history of these countries, like they just blanket it and say Africa, and they don't even understand there's visas amongst between these countries for people to travel from one place to another. But John Smith, what do you think about what the AU is trying to do a visa free Africa?
Um, okay, last I heard about that was the whole Aliko Dangote thing. But I think a visa for no, it won't work. I don't believe in it. To be honest, I don't believe in it. I would say that I don't. At first I thought it was something that would be done for a certain class of maybe Africans who have access to it. But if they're just saying that damn near all Africans and they have this kumbaya where all borders are open and stuff, is that what you're leading to, by the way?
Have you guys noticed how, I mean, no shade on anybody, but have you guys noticed it's always Ghanaians and Nigerians trying to get people to remove visas? Like, what's that all about?
I know Nigerians, I don't know Gambians, but yeah,
No,
Nigerians.
not Gambians. I say Ghanaians. If you look at the AU,
Oh,
they're the ones pushing for all this type of stuff, and all these people they are speaking in disguise. And for before some come here and say, "Oh, you talking about my people?" No, I'm speaking on your representatives, the politicians. They're the ones pushing for this. So people calm down, okay? But for some reason, they like to push for these things, and I don't see, because like I said, countries pushing for this, people are not looking to go to those countries, but they are the ones looking to go to these countries, like, and this pan-Africanist talk is what is causing all these weird ideas to surface, instead of, because
You
if
know,
they
I
want to
saw.
move,
I don't know if
Equatorial.
I know Nagmizi is Ados. I wanted to ask him a question, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, if they want to move, I think they should make Equatorial Guinea, they should open up the country for people to move there.
I remember Nigerian what posted made a title on Clubhouse saying delineation is gonna set Ados people 1,000 years back.
He said
And then,
delineation.
yeah, he said delineation, like if like basically they were fighting for kumbayaness and Pan Africanism and stuff, and saying if African Americans don't unite with Nigerians, they will set them back 1,000 years back.
Right.
I just find that interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, like the other day I had this conversation, and I know people they don't like the things I say, but they know it's true. Um, because they like to talk about this ancestral stuff. And I said, Africans on that coast, they've always been terrible at doing business. Africans don't see value in other Africans. Because look at it, like I said, Africans were the ones on those coasts, chiefs and slave traders, who sold 1 human for 40 human for umbrella, 10 for alcohol. These people that they sold, today those people became valuable, really valuable.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now they want those people back. Africans don't want you until you have value, and they're not going to be the ones
That's true.
putting that value
That
in you.
that's 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 that needs to be a title, Afrodam. You need a room starting like that. Africans don't love you until you have value.
Yeah, until you have value, because think about even today, all that talk, even saying, oh, let's apologize to blacks in the diaspora for slavery. It's like after you drank the whiskey and use the umbrella, like what the, you know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't make any
Yeah, I mean, we
sense.
see this all the time. You and I observe
Yeah,
Clubhouse.
so that's why when I say these things, the people they get mad. They're like, oh, you're just being divisive or no. My thing is, I know, I believe in this scripture, the truth shall set you free. Only the truth will set you free. Because first of all, you don't even know the type of culture you're walking yourself into. Like I see many Pan-Africanists, right? I understand their logic, especially the women. Women tend to be more emotional and they show it.
Yeah, yeah.
So when they get to these African countries, you watch their videos and they are talking. So now, because they have this chip on their shoulder, pride, they see what the culture is like. They are too ashamed to say, they are scared to point things out for what it is, but they will pretend like, oh, we are here to improve them, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, I'm like, okay, you like the idea of being an African, just the idea. But when you really come in contact with the real Africans on the soil, you realize this is not it. Okay, this is not it. So instead of pointing out some of the backward way of doing things and thinking, they just say, oh, these people are so nice. They all of a sudden become Karens, like liberal white women. They know you're screwed up, but they will pretend like, oh no, we're just trying to help you. What are you helping me with? This guy is proud of who he is. You said you want to be an African. This is what it means to be an African. This is how Africans think. This is how they live. What's there to change? You see what I'm saying? You told the white man that his country is screwed up, he's messed up in the head. You're moving back to Africa, where it's all nice. And then they get there, I think they like Africa without the Africans. That's just my observation.
Yeah,
What do you guys
yeah.
think? Diego, what do you guys think from the things you guys hear? They like Africa without the Africans.
No,
Yeah, they don't care about Africans.
I've
Yeah,
never.
Africa.
Go ahead,
Who?
Diego.
No. When I see videos, I actually see that the people actually got to Africa and see Africa for what it really is. You see, but I've never seen that thing that they don't like the Africa without the Africans. I've never paid attention to that.
No, what I mean, I'm not saying they hate the Africans, but they see the way things are done and it kicks in and they understand, okay, there's this way of thinking is why this place is this way. But they don't want to admit it. They do not want to admit it and say it. I think this is why they would rather just talk about, Kemet and, what happened 500 years ago. Because I've seen the videos where, like these people, they make videos, some of these arrogant women, they're like, oh, we're here to help change the Africans. We're here to change their condition. I'm like, are you serious right now? I mean, these people are comfortable with the way they live. And I never ever hear any of them speak of what truly is making those countries poor. Don't you think if you love the place, you want to go there, you might want to do that research as well? To me, it's just
Yeah.
a delusion because it doesn't match the reality.
It's a coping mechanism. Let's talk about the pyramids. You said it, but some Musa one. It's always African history. Like I swear, like you have an entire week people just talking about African history. Like I think it's because also they live with. I don't know if maybe you're the one that said this. Maybe it's because they live in Europe and around whites, and they I don't know how this is gonna sound. And they see all the, I don't want to call it accomplishment, but all the things white people have built, and they obviously you don't see your face as much. You, at a certain level, you do understand why they kind of need that coping mechanism of saying maybe
Yeah,
they are great or something. Yeah.
yeah. I think you're onto something there. Look, um, like I've lived spent a lot of time around white people in a white country. Okay, white people do build stuff. I mean, that's what they're about. That's why the place is nice. They build it. But it is hard for most Africans or even black person to admit that, So this is why some would say, "Oh, we want to go to Africa
But
and build it,"
you,
and when they get there,
you know,
they see that they really can't pull it off. Go ahead,
let me
Diego.
tell you something, Damas, about black people. When it comes to black people, to me, I don't care what they say. I just gotta watch them. You see,
Right.
these people that hate, that say whites don't build nothing, and those are the first ones who want to be at the white hotel, the white
Oh, I know.
restaurant. They say, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
we cook better than the whites." They want to be at the white restaurants, and it's Africans like that as well. You find
Hmm.
Africans that never travel to neighboring countries, but always in Europe. So they cannot talk about the people don't build stuff.
Hey, all
It's
you have to do
very
is
contra-
just the beauty about the 21st century is the technology. Like you
yeah.
said, it don't matter what they say. Look at what they do. Just check out Instagrams. Look at the restaurants, the places they value. Look at even the dictators. When they steal the money in Africa, where do they spend it at? They're not flying.
Exactly.
They're not flying to Ghana to buy kente cloth. They are flying to.
Julius Malema wears Gucci, lives in Santon, next door to an ANC member. That part. But nobody's gonna talk about it. We're supposed to. Like that when Mr. This is Diego, Julius Malema lives in Santon around whites, obviously.
Yeah, I
Of
know it.
course.
ANC member.
See,
Like
you didn't even have to tell me. Even here in America, it's the same way. Your
To
tough
me,
talking Pan Africanist or race talker, um, they live. They live in a gated, suburban white
you know,
community.
uh,
So don't pay them no mind.
Mr. Red Pill. To me, the EFF is actually a subdivision of the ANC. To me, it's just to divert votes. This is what I think.
man, those people just love playing with words, bro. Like, look, I don't know if you follow the VBS thing, but then you know what I mean. And the fact that he said that people should still support a business that literally took money, like a bank that took money and literally bragged about the fact that we're using people's pension money and spending it on helicopters, like, and talked about we need to defend it because it's black owned and there are no black banks. But God, these people
That,
bought a
that's
helicopter, brothers. There are videos of this stuff. Maybe I'll show you a back chat of a
yeah.
guy bragging, like, yeah, you see, this is the life we live. This is
I-
the life we live.
I'll have
Like,
to check it out. We have Nakmizi in the house. Welcome, Nakmizi. Nakmizi, can you
Hey,
hear me?
thank you, bro. I'm on this European internet, man. You know it's not that great,
Yeah. Hey,
man.
have you seen the short documentary and my analysis on what's going on?
No, I didn't. I tuned in later, and then I asked in the chat, like, what's the video or whatever.
Oh
Am I
man,
echoing?
no, you're fine from
Okay,
my
perfect.
end.
I always like your videos, your exorcisms, your raw truth. So I'm gonna have to watch it on a playback unless you wanted to play it again. But I was listening to you, and shout out to Amilcar X, my foundational Dutch American brother. And you said something like 5 minutes ago. You said that Pan Africans, or these people go to Africa and they want to save the African and change the African. It's like everybody wants to be an African until you actually have to be an African.
Yes.
They won't accept Africa and the African for who they are. They want to change them for their own ideology and their view. So I challenge the Pan African, and I'd say a lot of these Pan Africans, especially the new Pan Africans, actually really don't know anything about Africa. They look at Africa through like these rose colored glasses. And I say, take it for what it is. And if you take it for what it is, then you have a good starting point. But if you use Africa and you're like, oh, it's great, it's this and that. And like, you can see in the technology age that it's not that. The people that you're talking about who have a lot of the money, you have that. But for the most part, a lot of these countries, people are suffering. And if you're really for the people, then you would focus on that without a camera, without talking about it. You just get there and get busy. Now, finally, I want you guys to keep in mind that hip hop video that lady did. I guess I'm gonna have to claim her. She might be a Black American. I don't know.
You mean the first Pan Africanist single that dropped?
Yes, that horrible video with the even more horrible outfit. I mean, just the nerve of somebody to squeeze their fat ass into a tight outfit and have the nerve to represent a continent or a country with a historical, conservative culture. You're going in there spandex, using certain symbols, all misplaced. So to that, I say, keep that in mind and think about what I'm about to say. The Pan-African doesn't move to Africa because they love Africa.
No.
They move to Africa so that they can be superstars amongst people that they have more resources than.
Right.
That's why they go. They go to be a big fish in a small financial pond because they were losers in America. So they go to Africa to be ballers because they couldn't be a baller in the West. That's what it is.
You've definitely hit it, because there's no way she would have made that video living here. Talking about she's a rapper now, that would have been a total joke. But Nagmizi, what you missed on in the documentary, it was Equatorial Guinea, as you know. So this documentary, man, you might want to go back and watch it. It shows like this country have the potential to be not only the richest in Africa, but among the richest countries in the world. But obviously, the dictators of that country, these guys are literally criminal. One of the most brutal and corrupt dictators of the 21st century. They keep all the wealth for themselves while the people are living in abject poverty. I mean, super poverty.
Yep.
I mean, even living in, when I was growing up in Africa, shit, I don't even in a war zone, I didn't even see that type of poverty. That's how crazy it is, And
brother, with you have some people on these YouTube streets that will defend a corrupt dictatorship.
Right.
And it's like, do you not see what's going on with your own eyes that you will try to paint that? You're putting sugar on shit and trying to say that it's candy. No. This guy was convicted in France. He had like X amount of sports cars. I watched a documentary where this guy was buying like European designer stuff. He has a thing for white chicks. He's got his hair, what do you call it? Like an S-curl, like a Jerry curl to the side. He's everything but an African. So in mentality. You know what I'm saying? But he's a
look at him.
Oh, that one. Yeah, that's the one right
he
there.
once allowed French television to tag along on a shopping spree.
Look at him. He wants to be a
Bentley can be
superstar.
hard work in Paris traffic.
C'est Paris. Pour le soir, vous avez dit. Pour le soir, vous avez des cocktails.
What's the documentary name?
While he's living this way, look
Yo,
at
you know what he wants to be? He wants to be an ADOS playboy.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to be. He wants to be P. Diddy.
Look at, while they are doing this, the country only have 2 swimming pools, and even the Olympian, what?
And now training.
The slowest Olympian.
Well, how do you do training if the pools haven't got water?
Okay, I was in South Africa and in Ghana.
Shout out to South Africa and Ghana coming to the rescue.
Where I have been training, but now I have to move to Spain to train. Here I can.
You see, Nakmizi, you know, last time when I said some of these countries are better off to have the white people come back and recolonize them, people were upset. So look at the man. They are Olympian just to get a pool that he can train in. Now he got to move to Spain. They are former colonial power. So why don't they have the Spanish just come in? This man would have had water, a swimming pool to swim in. I bet you the 2 swimming pools in the country were probably built by the Spanish, but since they left, the water left too.
Yeah, we take everything. We take the white man's last name. We take the infrastructure in some of our countries, especially in the cities.
Except the white man's work ethic.
Oh, see, and that's why I rock with you, because you finished my sentence. We take everything except the work ethic, except the application of knowledge, right? We got everything. We got his last name. We got fake hair, fake wigs that look like his. We take everything except the know-how.
Yep.
Where is the industrial revolution of Africa? Now it's not industrial. Where is the technological boom of Africa? Africans got to get that. Black Americans got to get that. We got to start creating our own stuff. We done lived amongst white people for so goddamn long as Black Americans, 400 years. Are we going to learn anything from them? Like, I will learn from them. Doesn't mean I have to try to be them, but damn, if you sit next to the smartest kid in the class and you don't peek over at his test every once in a while, then you're the idiot.
See, Nakmizi, the crazy thing is, look at how much bank account this dictator have. How many?
Controls in excess of 60 accounts at this bank, including the one where oil companies deposit royalty payments. In some accounts, the balances run to hundreds of millions of dollars. In such circumstances, I guess it's understandable that the president would equip himself with a mansion like this just outside Washington.
You see that, Nakmizi? See that right there?
That's his house?
That's one of them in DC. In DC. I'll continue.
But it's a silly president who forgets to lock the front gate.
It's a miracle. Why would you lock the gate?
Good morning. Is President Obiang in, please? Hello, how do you do?
A caretaker eventually emerged from a garage, so I got a glimpse of the presidential fleet.
Abradamis, can you pause? Wait, did he just say is the president there?
Yes, because that's the president, the dictator of Equatorial Guinea, stealing all the money from his people. He spent it on this mansion. You think this is the only mansion? I'll show you you'll see in a minute here. He has 2 mansions next to each other while his people are in abject poverty.
And since the president was not in when I dropped by, the same caretaker very kindly arranged for me to speak with a government representative on the phone.
Who is this?
Yes, my friend.
Your friend?
Yeah.
What's your friend's name?
You come. Teodoro here.
That's the ambassador. The ambassador is the cousin. So these people is a crime family. It's a crime family.
Oh, you're the ambassador. Oh, I see. You're the president's cousin. Oh, goodness gracious me. Well, Mr. Ambassador, tell me, how much money has the president got in his rigged bank account at the moment?
The FBI is trying to trace cash movements in and out of that account.
So, Mr. Ambassador, are you still there?
And whether it's the oil companies making the...
He all of a sudden have a... The moment the man started talking about how much money, he switched it to the Equatorial Guinea phone network.
in cash payments.
Bye-bye.
President Obiang and his family must enjoy the lifestyles of the rich and famous. Otherwise, why would he have another mansion just down the road? And across the continent, another. Los Angeles luxury.
Nagmizi, did you see that?
I saw it, and it's a shame when you look at that and then you see what's going on in that country. I mean, they literally have people from that country, you know, in other countries just doing ungodly things just to scrape by a living, you know
what?
And
you haven't even seen this. You're about to see more that's gonna make you sick to your stomach.
Luxurious Beverly Hills area is home for Teodoro Jr. Remember him?
That's the one that want to be an ADOS playboy.
He's the son who likes the fast cars and fancy suits. Swimming pools, movie stars, and an African prince.
Where is the owner of the property?
This is the African prince.
An African prince?
Yeah.
So he's got his own swimming pools. Even their Olympian, the Olympic swimmer, doesn't even, the country can even provide swimming pool for the man to swim in. While they are living like that, look on your screen. Look at what you are seeing, the way the people are living, the regular citizens. Go ahead.
it's a shame, but when people can't see that, you know, you're probably dealing with someone who's not all there mentally. So we shouldn't even waste conversation with that. But this is just an example of a country with a very high GDP, but a low, I think it's an HDI or HMI, human development index. The HDI is very low. So it's out of balance. And the reason why it's out of balance is because that one family is stealing
electricity.
everything.
Can you believe that? The students have to, go out there to catch the light flickers to study. Can you believe that? Go ahead, Nat.
Oh, I was just looking at some, Don King was saying something in the comments. But anyway, yeah, man, this is crazy. I didn't know it was that bad. I remember the Playboy video, but why is this guy so interested in like Black American memorabilia, living in America? Why don't he fix it as his own country? That would be the question that I like to ask anyone from there is why don't they fix their own country? They call it actually the North Korea of Africa.
That's
because it's so secretive.
That's what I call it. But you see, that's the thing. Since I'm officially on the no-fly list over there, but hey, the white man is invited. So the white man recorded everything to show us, hey, you can deny things that we can see, right? But if it's right in your face, how can you deny that? And it blows my mind for people to try to defend such despicable things. And I'm not the enemy here. I'm just here to shine light on what is happening, because you have one family that is holding the country hostage. This Equatorial Guinea might be worse than North Korea, if you ask me.
I believe so. I nominated for the worst country on the continent for the way
Mac,
that
look at this here. Look at this, how the kids are even living. Watch.
Back home
Look
in
at this.
Equatorial Guinea's slums, last year the economy grew a massive 60%. It is the fastest growing economy on earth. Near to none of the country's 500,000 people see a brass razoo from this.
The fastest growing economy, while the people are living in squalor and destitution. Look at how sad the people look.
You know, and it's really no disrespect to those people.
No.
All the disrespect goes to the government. How dare they allow their people to live like that? Have their people, you know, doing ungodly things in Europe, and covering up for such a disgusting regime that would do that to their own people while they're being playboys and buying cars and gloves and all kind of nonsense, buying mansions in America and everywhere but in Equatorial Guinea.
Calling
That's insane.
themselves African princes. Go ahead, John.
No, I'm just noticing from Mr. Nagmizi mostly the shaming tactics. You know, although I know you mean it in a nice way and stuff, but last I checked, man, I mean, it's almost like you're shocked that these things are happening. Like, oh, it's so embarrassing and messed up that Africans are doing this. But remember, this is although not really the same people, but you guys yourself, you were sold into slavery by these people. You know, you were sold, and chances are, and Mr. Afrodamis and I was talking about this, is that chances are if those people, those slave traders didn't sell you, they would have killed you. These are the people you're talking about. These are people that would easily probably even kill me too if they probably could get a buck from it. You know? So at some
when
point,
you say
I think
sold me,
I mean,
was
your
never a slave.
No, I'm talking
right?
about you. I'm not really dissing you, to be honest.
No,
What
I
I'm
know,
saying-
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But look,
yeah, and what I'm saying is sometimes I feel like, although this may not be the topic, but there's some level of point where you have to blame those poor people. Like I get that maybe, I don't know, maybe it's illogical, maybe I'm saying something that's illogical, but personally, I just don't see the shaming tactic working.
Well, John,
even from South Africans, either from Africans, yeah.
John, I think you missed the point. He's not shaming the poor people. He clearly said this is nothing to do with the people. The people are the victims. He's not shaming anybody but the dictators. And I don't think it's
I'm speaking about that.
He's just calling it out. He's just calling it out as
Wait,
I've been calling it out.
I want this guy's logic, because he might be one of the internet Africans I'll be talking about. What are you trying to say, dude?
What I'm trying to say, what do you mean internet Africans? But fine, I just go with that. What I'm just saying is that I guess maybe it's because maybe I've been on a lot of panels and it's not really an attack on you. Something that just hits me is the shaming tactics, right? And I just notice how, and it's not like I'm awarding white people or something, but white people are very different when it comes to corrupt leaders. Like there's a lot of, I know this guy will never look up for me, I have to make him accountable, right? Like that, I feel like, at least this is what I feel. You probably correct me to this, Mr. Nagmezi. If Trump, let's say, was voted in by those white people in America and did not do any of the things that he kind of promised, because he did try to, put the wall and stuff, do you think those white people would vote for him? Like, can you answer that question for me?
Well, do I think that they would vote for him?
They would still vote for him if he never kept his promise on the things that he tried to do.
Well, Trump has a different base. He has like fanatics. So to some people, and he'll say it, he says he can shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not lose a vote. So I think Trump is a bad example because he's got a fanatic base. But as far as shaming, what we're doing is we're just calling out the hypocrisy of, a government that's so corrupt that everything's kept in the family, and their people are living like that. Like I said, there's no disrespect on the people.
My point was on the voters, right? I just want to clarify this. I'm not saying Trump is a good person. Trump could be anything. What I'm trying to imply is the fact that if he never kept his promise, would white people still vote for him?
John,
it doesn't matter, it's not a morality
but
thing. It's more
see,
of a,
but
I
John,
would-
John, that's not a good example because it's not only white people that voted for Trump. Like Equatorial Guinea, these dictators, it's a terrible example to compare them to Trump. These are the worst people on planet Earth, you know. So when you say that Nagmizi is using shaming tactic, he's not using shaming tactic. He's describing exactly what we've all been describing from the beginning of the show. You know, like there's no way anyone can say they find anything good about one individual and his family controlling the wealth of a country while the people are living in poverty. They are in America and other Western countries just parlaying the wealth that they siphon out of the country. So that is no shade on the people who are the victims here. And when you talk about election, right? You think Equatorial Guinea, they can have a real election? Are you kidding me? This is the North Korea. This place is worse than North Korea. Didn't you see the political dissidents who fled the country? They fled the country because of, you know, how brutal the dictator is.
I think this guy was just reaching because then he pulled out the slave card where we weren't even talking about that. So I don't really understand where he's coming from. I think it's an example of just trying to, you know, throw shit at the wall and hope that it sticks. You know, I'm trying to get clarification of what he's talking about. But
okay, let me say this one.
Can I put my force into it?
Okay, I'll just finish by this. What I was trying to imply is, okay, since you guys are concentrating so much on Donald Trump, my point was that at least my observation, I've noticed white people are not loyal to parties. I wanted to point out that if that guy never kept never did the things that the people that voted for him did, they would vote different. My main point was on the fact that a lot of Africans are loyal to parties. That is the thing, and it's a common sense thing. I've really had this discussion with another Jew friend of mine about this thing, that it's common sense, and it's just funny how people constantly do the same thing, giving promises, and they'll still vote for those people. That was my point, to be honest, Mr. Agmizi. It wasn't really to bash you or any of that.
yeah, I don't feel bashed, but you still aren't making any point at all. Totally, you're missing. You just threw something in the air, and it just really doesn't have any place. When you listen to the context of what we were talking about, it was about corrupt dictatorship, right? And we were both speaking on topic. And then you brought it to another place about shaming. We're calling out injustice to a people. And then you bring it to those people could have been, you know, sold my people or something to that effect. You can't hold the African of today. Hold on, brother. Hold on. Stop being an internet African. Let me finish. You can't hold that young man with that ripped T-shirt responsible for something that possibly one of his ancestors way could have done. That's ridiculous. Okay, and let's just get one thing clear. Every tribe, like this is this thing that they say, oh, every tribe was involved. No, there were tribes that were absolutely banging on Europeans. Okay, so everyone doesn't hold the same amount of weight as it relates to slave trading or slave raiding. Okay, there were tribes like the Ashanti. They and a couple of Nigerian tribes are really bad. You can't hold them to the same standard as you would a smaller tribe that didn't have those trade connections and call them slave traders as well. But I don't want to get away from the topic because that already happened. But I want to keep it back on this. Afrodamus, have you done any exorcisms lately?
I'm working on one possibly before this weekend ends. I need the anointing oil, and I think I have the anointing oil. Maybe before this weekend ends, another exorcism will have to take place. Let's see. We have Dr. R. Are you here, Dr. R? Dr. R, unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Go ahead, Dr. R. What do you want to say?
I just want to say the people of that country are a joke and they're not doing anything to change their situation, and they allowed this disgusting dictatorship that's probably using witchcraft.
No,
That's
Dr. R, there is dissidents that are in exile. This man, he puts his opponents in prisons. There are people who are trying to do something about it, but you have to remember, this man, he's been in power, for a long time. He's the longest serving president. I mean, they call him president. They might as well call him a king in Africa. So his power is entrenched. He made his son the vice president. And you can only imagine the military, most of it is people from his family. So it's not just going to be an easy thing for people to just remove him or challenge him. But go ahead. But the people are definitely doing something about it. Just not enough. You see, like the country itself is secluded. It's not like other African countries. It's like what is it called? Like North Korea type. And you're right. I won't be surprised. I know that his uncle that used to be in power used witchcraft. So you're correct. I wouldn't be surprised if he does too.
Also, and I wouldn't be surprised about Gabon. Funny enough, as you said, because I met a woman from Gabon and told me it's very similar to Equatorial Guinea, as it's dominated by both tribes, the Fangs.
The Fangs. That's right. Yeah, the Fangs are the ones, that are dominant over there. So we have Marie here. Marie, where are you calling from?
Oh, am I here?
Yeah.
Oh, I live in America, but I'm of Haitian descent.
Haitian. Okay, Marie. Have you seen the short documentary that we're discussing here today, as far as the brutal dictators of Equatorial Guinea? Are you familiar with Equatorial Guinea?
I know of the country, yeah, but I actually came to ask you guys a few questions, if you guys don't mind.
Go for it. When you say you guys, who is this directed to?
Oh, any of the speakers on the
Okay.
panel.
Okay, go for it.
All right, so it's clear that Africans genetically are not incapable. You know what I mean? You guys are not genetically dumber than anyone else, right? So clearly you guys have the ability to run your own countries. So what do you think it would take for you guys to get to that point?
Well, clearly the Africans are not running the country properly. So I don't know if I would associate it to genetics or whatever, but most definitely greed, corruption, lack of vision, is holding these countries back. So, I mean, unless I see the opposite, then we'll say I can talk about whether they're capable of not. See, capability, is something that you cannot fake. It has to be shown. But from what we can see, like I'm not gonna flatter anyone to try to tell people things that would make them feel better. That's why I don't use words like genetics and all that. If the people got what it takes, all they have to do is to show it.
Yeah. So like, and then,
Oh.
oh yeah, go ahead, answer.
Oh yeah. So your question was what would it take, right? I think that's what you wanted. Like you wanted a solution.
Yeah, solution basically. Because listen, I come from Haiti and my country is basically the same as a lot of these African countries, very corrupt, can't give citizens the basic things they need. So even for myself, I'm trying to like ask you guys, like, what do you think it would take to get out of that?
I think, so this is just my personal opinion again. I think Africans will have to hit rock bottom. I genuinely think so. I think some extreme event has to happen that will force a lot of Africans to stare their reality in the face. And then after that,
Can I
maybe
please answer that?
hopefully something will happen. Yeah.
Diego, you want to answer that? Was
Yeah,
that you,
yes, I
Diego?
want to answer
Go,
this
go,
question that the lady.
go ahead.
Yes,
Go
it's
ahead.
me. Yeah, so I believe that genetics play a role.
Okay.
I know this is not a popular opinion, but I do believe that genetics play a role. And if you watch the development of Europe, for example, they had the stage where they practiced eugenics, which they sterilized the people who didn't have the attributes that they thought would be able to build a civilization. And this is something that the African needs to think about. We have a lot of people in Africa reproducing, having 7, 8 kids, that they have 5 wives and 3 goats. This is all they have. So
Yeah.
with these people will not move forward.
Right.
With these people
So you're
will not move forward. So this
basically
is where you
saying
go, and I'm
so
sorry to tell you.
you're basically saying Africa needs a cultural change.
Diego,
Yes.
basically, Diego, you're saying that we should call the population the stupid people.
Yes,
I
yes,
think what they're calling for is
exactly. You gotta
I think, Diego, if you're calling upon the culling of the people, if you want, if Africa is to industrialize and build and get rid of certain backward things, I would agree with you on that. We should like lower the
Yeah.
population and get rid of some stupid people and the corruption. Be,
Okay, but the people are only like that
yeah.
because of their environment, right? So like if you were to have better institutions for these people, you wouldn't get these results. That's what I'm saying. Like it's an institution.
yeah.
If
But
you built
Sorry, I
you,
can't see your
where's
schools, if
the
you
name.
built schools in Africa
let
and you gave them
let?
opportunities. I mean, Bangladesh a couple of years, the average woman was having 7 kids. Now it's down to like 2. You don't need to kill people for that. You need
why
to
not? Why not? Like, let me ask you, madam, you're from Haiti, right? How come your
yeah.
No,
next
no.
door
Let
neighbor,
me tell you
Dominican Republic?
where it gets
Let me
tricky.
finish here. How come your next door neighbor, you got similar population to Dominican Republic? They've got a GDP of like what 80, 100 billion, and you was independent for like to Dominican Republic. Like, how come Haiti, right? Yeah, even though it had its challenges, how come it's not like similar to Cuba or your next door neighbors? Like, what is the cause of it? And you were independent, the only black nation in the New World independent.
Yeah,
So
I'm
what's the
not
cause for your
sure.
backwardness?
We have a lot
Because
of
there's no
issues.
excuse. This applies to Africa as well. There's no excuses.
Sure, that's why I'm not judging Africans because clearly my country, we have a lot of issues ourselves. But I don't think the solution for me, if I wanted to fix Haiti, my option wouldn't to be to kill poor Haitians or Haitians who are backwards because I don't think that's gonna help the population, nor do I want to be brutal to my own people. See, like with Haitians, what the thing I would say is basically the government, and we faced a lot of sanctions from European powers. That's also something that I wanted to touch up on.
You want to say that again?
And the, huh?
You said is the white people?
Well, we do face a lot of issues from what white people have done to us in the past, and that's also
No, we're talking about now.
So now you're bringing about white people. For goodness sakes, you're not.
That's also something I wanted to talk about earlier, because even
Doctor, allow her to
look
drop it.
Look at how your good leaders are killed. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot, you guys are only like blaming the Africans, but a lot of our problems come from Europeans as well. And I'm all for self-accountability.
Madam, listen. You know these.
Huh?
Doctor, what happened?
Hey, let me tackle this
Can
because
I finish what I'm about to say about assassinations in Africa? Who carried out the majority of these assassinations in Africa? It was Africans themselves that have done that.
Support from the colonial powers. You know, the people who assassinated these leaders were always paid by European powers.
Oh my fucking God! No.
Afrodamus, can I get in here? I've been patiently waiting.
We never liked each other. I don't know why
The downfall of the African nation has always been a combination of African leaders and white people. Like, even look at slavery. Africans sold their own people, white people bought them. It's always been a combination.
So, Marie, not Missy will speak next, but Marie, if I, right?
I think there needs to be some cultural revolution.
Wait, yeah, but Marie,
huh?
if I'm selling my Gucci bag, or maybe if I'm a drug dealer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm at the corner, selling drugs to my own grandma, or even just selling drugs from my neighborhood, bringing in, a lot of disasters to my neighborhood. I'm the one that set up the shop, right? And the customers are coming to my neighborhood to buy drugs for me. I'm selling drugs. I'm a drug dealer. So people come and buy drugs from me. How can you blame the people that are buying the drugs, from me, than me, the person who's the drug dealer, who set up the shop and said, I'm a drug dealer, come and get your drugs? Who is worst?
Who's worst? Well, in that case, then I would say the person who's selling the drugs is worse, right? Okay, but look, for example, in my country, Haiti, right? So I'm sure that if you guys know anything about Haitian history, I'm sure that you guys know that we had to pay some type of tax to the French, right?
Yeah.
So, and that crippled our country. That really crippled a lot, but we always had poor leaders, to be honest. But that really crippled the development of our country from the early stages.
Yeah, but
and if we didn't pay that, they were going to come to Haiti and take over us with their actual army. So we probably would have been a genocide. Would have been a genocide. So we have always faced consequences every time a lot of Africans try to fight back, or even people in the Caribbean try to fight back, try to fight back from the corruption. A lot of us are killed, we're murdered, and things just get worse. That's why a lot of us don't even have that fighting spirit anymore.
Wow.
And this is what I don't want Africa.
Let me deal with this.
Marie, we'll allow Nagmizi to answer this, but Marie, you gave several examples. The reason why I gave you that analogy about the drug dealer thing, somebody's echoing. Who is it? The reason why I gave you that is because to let you know, the Africans, if they were not selling human beings into slavery, the Europeans would have never come to buy human beings. The market was already there. That's what they did for business.
But I clearly said that. I said that the
Well, okay. I just wanted to clear that up. So
yeah, I said the downfall of Africa has always been a conjunction of African leaders and white people.
no, it's not white
Murray,
people.
can I add something? You do
Hold on.
realize that Africa was never united from the start.
I know, I know, obviously, and that's yeah, like I know, but how are you gonna get rid of
Murray, and you do realize, I want you to be aware, you do realize Africa's a continent. The majority of Africans, like myself, are tribal. Like, for example, what's going on in Equatorial Guinea, it doesn't affect me. It might affect someone from Equatorial Guinea, what's going on in their own country. I don't see why you care about the continent, because even before the Europeans, Africans, just like in Europe, was backwards and it had tribal wars. Africa itself is still having tribal wars, but the difference, since the difference between Africa and Europe is Europe is smaller than Africa,
this has
it's more
nothing to do with what
homogeneous.
she's asking, and we're trying to have order here.
Yeah. Dr. R, 1 second.
Okay.
Nagmize, go ahead.
All right, so let's get the audio issue squared away. If everyone besides Afrodamus,
Guys, can you
myself,
mute?
and Marie could mute their mics. Marie, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine.
Okay, so we don't hear the echo anymore. So look, what is your question? In a nutshell, what I think you're trying to ask is, why is Haiti in the position that it's in? Is that where you're going?
Well, I understand why my country is in the position that it's in, because I read
Uh-huh.
my own history. Like I said, the downfall of most Black nations have always been Black leaders working in conjunction with Europeans. But what I was asking was, how do you think that we can get out of this? How do you, like you were mentioning earlier about technological revolutions and stuff like that. But
Right.
you know, how do we even get there when a lot of us can't even go to school? We have terrible illiteracy rates, and this goes on with Africa too.
So I'm gonna answer your question now. Thank you for clarifying. The thing is with Haiti. Okay, we'll keep it to Haiti for right now. In 1804, they beat the French or something, right?
Yeah.
So how did you guys beat the French, but then still had to pay the French?
Okay, so
They use juju.
that's actually the French tax is actually something that's a complicated issue, because it also has.
All right. So what my point is that you never really beat
Hold
the
on,
French.
I want to touch up on the French tax thing, because it's actually
Wait,
important.
hold on. That's a minor point to what I'm getting at. What you essentially did, like most African nations or Black nations that supposedly get their independence, what happens is really the hand that was feeding you is no longer feeding you. I know 1804 was about slavery, right? But if you look at the majority of nations that supposedly are liberated, they always tank. The reason is that Black people have not learned management and industry from their former colonizers. So throughout the Caribbean, the better performing Caribbean countries are those that still have close links to their colonial, their former colonizers, right? Barbados is an example. Barbados has good infrastructure, a nice working government. They have their issues, but it's a lot better than some of the other countries. So it boils down to Black people don't really know how to manage anything, regardless to whether it's in the Caribbean, Black America, or Africa. We've typically had to have the white man controlling stuff. And when the white man says, you know what, do it on your own, that's when everything goes to shit. That's what it is. Black people don't know how
My
to
brother, are you
control
sure
shit.
about that?
That's
Are you
why-
sure about that? Are you saying that about all Africans?
Majority.
Listen, idiots. I didn't say all Africans.
Yeah, who you calling an idiot, bro? Who you calling an idiot? I'm asking you. You say that the whole entire continent and from the Caribbean.
But let me ask you a question. Is your name Marie? Is your name Marie? I didn't think so. I'm speaking to the lady. So
Well, don't
black.
call me an idiot, you Chererdo.
Okay, great. Just mind your business until you like to talk, but give other people a chance to talk too, please. So the point is that black people worldwide are horrible managers at whatever they do. So black Americans have been enslaved, right? And what we will take everything, including last names, but we won't take managerial skills and industrial skills from these same white people, right? So that's what happened in Haiti. Haiti, like many other places, they can't do it because black people are just horrible at managing. And will they change? No, I think it's too late. I think Haiti is a lost cause. Haiti is always going to be a failed state. Africa is not going to help them. Africa is not even in a position to help them. So Haiti is just going to be messed up. You look right across the border to the Dominican Republic. They have the issues, but it's a lot better than it is in Haiti. It's the black is what's messing everything up.
You think it's lack of critical thinking skills?
Well,
absolutely.
I mean, he's not. I don't fully agree with that point, but
Marie,
listen,
you can disagree all you want, but the facts.
Listen, I can.
The facts don't lie. That's he literally laid it out.
Okay,
did you know that, Marie? Did you know most countries in Africa, they were in better shape when they were under white colonialists?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so this very country, Equatorial Guinea, we were speaking of here, they became wealthy. They have oil. They became wealthy after the Spanish left. But their life, the socioeconomic standard of the people went down. The people are more broke today than ever, and the country is richer, but only a couple of people are benefiting off of it. You see, so this is the story for most African countries. Congo, for example, have been plundered over and over, not only by Europeans, because King Leopold, we can't exonerate him, but after him, we got Mobutu, we got subsequent African leaders after him. You go to Nigeria, you go to Gabon, Cameroon. I can just name country after country. The story is the same. It is not the white man. We can't just look at, try to, outsource the blame. The reality is the African is incapable. The African is not thinking straight. The African don't care about the African. And when people speak about these borders, talking about, oh, that was the worst thing, that's the best thing that ever happened to African. African is not even safe around other Africans. You look at Africans, when things happen in African countries, wars, where do the Africans run to? Where are they safer? In the white man's country. Or South Africa, in the white man's country, to be precise. If you look at even the people that during the Liberian War, Liberians that went to Ghana, go read about them. The Ghanaians are kicking them out of their country. Okay? The African is not nice to the African. So when they come in power, they would repeat the same thing. And it's not only within the continent of, it's not only within the continent of Africa.
Okay, so
you're giving us example of Haiti.
Who puts your leaders in power?
The people. That's what I'm telling you.
You continuously pick bad leaders. That's just a coincidence for you?
Lack of critical thinking.
So then,
African is gonna enter. Yes, it's African people constantly pick. Then Africans are loyal to to parties and leaders. They are loyal. It is, I know it's illogical. I get it. I've asked this question multiple times, but that's what happens. Even though, I don't know if you're watching when I was speaking of the whole Trump thing, even though they do a bad job, would they still vote for? That's what Africans do, regardless of if you do a good job, bad job. It's more about loyalty with Africans and tribalism, and I'm Zulu and I'm better than everybody else. And it is what it is.
The leaders, ma'am, Marie,
yeah,
don't forget the leader, right? Is from
You
this
know, but
society.
bro, you need to
Who's
understand the
echoing?
African
The
doesn't need.
leader is a reflection. It's a reflection of its people. It's not like this leader is coming from space. The leaders are from the community. They are raised by the people. They think like the people, and they learn what they learn from their people, and that is what is implemented. Anyone that deviates from the African way of thinking, of doing things, you want to make things better, you want to think smart, you will be killed or ostracized. You will be killed. So you talked about assassinations around Africa. Look at, I'm yes, a lot of
She doesn't even
assassinations
know.
is done by Africans themselves. The African doesn't
Papadamos,
want
let
to
me
see
finish
the
my point
African
in
in charge.
30 seconds.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead,
want to
Nakmizi.
hear
I
what
just want
he
to
All
has to
right.
explain something
For
to
the sister
Marie.
Marie, real quick on Haiti. If you talk about, because you mentioned that white people and black people, and specifically in Haiti, right? Papa Doc Duvalier, right? He gained power from the mulattoes that were in power. What he did was practice ACBN, African-centered biological nationalism, which doesn't work, by the way. And he said he organized the black base to get the mulatto base that was in power, placed in power by the white man. So you had a black man that took the mixed people out of power. And then what did he do? He created a Tonton Makut, right? And he started brutalizing his people. And then who went into power after that? Baby Doc Duvalier, right? Who killed the last president of Haiti? A Haitian from Miami. You see what I'm saying? So it's black people killing black people. And once we understand that, most of the damage done to black people is at the hands of other black people. Take politics out of it. I remember hold on, sis. My old manager told me, and I thought he was a coon for it. He said, he was teaching me how to hide my money from my first job. He said, you keep a little money to the side for the stick-up man. And he said, when I see a bunch of black guys coming up the street, I walk across the other street, but I never feel like that with white people. And I'm like, this dude is scared of his own people. But if you look at the stats, we're probably more likely to get screwed over by our own people. Not because it's black on black, but because you're going to get screwed over by the people you live around and that you interact with. And the fact that black people historically do not see each other as brothers and sisters, as the same. We are tribal. If we are not tribal, then we'll find another way to separate ourselves. To be, you're from the East Coast, I'm from the West Coast, you're from the North, I'm from the South, you're dark skinned, I'm light skinned, you're fat, I'm skinny, right? We'll always find ways to separate. So if you start looking at the power structure and not necessarily the color, then black people will start making headway. But like I said, Haiti is probably a foregone conclusion. You have gangs like the 400 and other groups that are vying for power in this vacuum that was left by that president that was assassinated. And yes, there is a European, there is an American, there is a South American hand in Haiti, right? We get it. And for them to do business, they have to have collaboration from who? The same black people that's screwing over their own black people.
Like Equatorial Guinea.
Exactly. That place is horrible. It's a hellhole. They got their daughters selling fish in Europe. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's it.
Can I explain something
go
to
ahead.
the lady, please?
Go ahead, Diogo.
I wanted to say something to, I'm not sure who he is, but
Can I explain something to the lady?
American, right? You're African American.
Let
Wait, I'm talking to the guy who was talking to me.
Yes, I'm Black American from New York.
Okay, so if you really think that white people never did anything to the American Black community that limited your growth today, like a lot of the things that your ancestors built, Black Wall Street, a lot of things that you built, they were all burnt down. Even after slavery and Jim Crow, a lot of your wealth were stolen because African Americans, you guys had a lot of banks. You guys had a lot of banks that you guys had, and white people took all of that. So if you're really gonna sit here on this panel and think that white people have nothing to do with like our underdevelopment, I just think that's false.
All right, hold on. So let me ask you a question.
Maria, you
hold
blame
on.
everything on white
She asked me
people.
the question.
I don't blame everything on white people because
Wait, but hold
that's
on.
why
Let me
Africa's a joke.
answer her
They blame
question.
everything on Europeans, but they don't
Let
blame
me answer her
themselves.
question, guys. Please.
Hold on, let him
I'm built
answer.
for this. Marie, there is no hour when it comes to Black American because you are not a Black American. You are a Haitian American. So we're talking about Haiti. So if we're going to talk about Haiti, let's keep it on that. Hold on. If you're going to jump to Black America, then it needs to be isolated. I can speak on Black Wall Street, and yes, you are right. There are powers that exist, that have existed.
Then now you're being hypocritical because apparently.
No, I'm not being hypocritical. Let me explain to you why it's a difference.
You can understand that white people did do things that harmed your community, and your community faces the effects of that to this day. But you can't understand how this happens to Black countries in Haiti and in Africa. After slavery ended, Europe, Britain, France, UK, all of the major powers sanctioned my country. How was my country supposed to grow their economy when they don't even have access to the biggest economies in the world? Who are they supposed to trade with? That's what Europe always does. They sanction any Africans who do not go, who don't do what they want to do.
No, Marie.
Wait, hold on. Alpha, please, because I know a lot about Haiti. Please, my brother, I really want to deal with this. Marie, you're jumping around, sis. You're jumping around. We talked about Haiti, and I called out the names. You didn't. I told you about Papa Doc Duvalier and the tactic he used to get out the mulatto establishment, not the white establishment, the mulatto establishment. Hold on. Stop being an internet Haitian. Just listen for a second.
What does that even mean?
It was a black man.
African Haitian, African internet African. What does that even mean?
Well, it's just terms. It's an inside joke. Yeah.
It's nothing really bad. But now check this out. I broke it down. There's a different situation on Haiti as there is in America. So when you speak about America, you're right. Now, Haiti, I would ask you to tell me the politician, the white politician that held Haiti back. Because I gave you the black politician that created the Tonton Macoute. And you're a Haitian. Can you tell us who the Tonton Macoute were?
They were black people, obviously.
No, wait. But what did they do? Because now I don't think you know who they were.
First of all, I'm not old. I'm young, so I wasn't even born when this happened.
Okay, so no.
Hey, did you know your leader? Hey, Maria, did you know your leader?
About history with no understanding of Haitian history.
First of all, you're bringing
so you can't talk about it.
So first of all, you're bringing up politicians, but since when does a politician need to be in your country to oppress you?
No, they don't. But politicians control power. And if we're having a power conversation, you got to speak about the politicians. Don't use your age. Don't use your age as a reason to show your ignorance. We can go back. I can take it so far back in Haiti. I can take it all the way to the Parsley murders with Trujillo. So when you jump into a conversation about history, about history and white oppression in your country of Haiti, you got to give me the names of the white people that did it. So who are the white people that oppressed the Haitians? Because I gave you the black man that oppressed the Haitians. So now I want you to give me the white politician or the white people in power, their names that oppressed Haiti, and they're still doing it today. Go.
You don't need to be in power to oppress a certain group of people.
Well, you do.
You absolutely do. You have no idea what you're talking about.
I butchered that. You don't need to be in a certain country to oppress a people. You can oppress somebody from overseas. So African Americans, you guys live in a white-dominated society. Of course, you can easily pinpoint which politicians did this to you, which politicians did that to you. That's not
Maria, can I say something to you? You're a very stupid girl. You have very little.
Okay.
You know, it's funny.
Okay.
This black American guy, he's lecturing you on your.
Dr. R, let's not call people names, please.
I want to listen to what he has to say.
Yeah, let's not call people names. You know, we can disagree. You know, we're just having a cordial discussion here. Go ahead.
I apologize for calling her a stupid girl. She basically doesn't know nothing about her country, and I feel like she's got a victim mentality on blaming white people. Like, did you know your leader used to kill so many Haitians and the mulatto? And you should watch that film. You should watch that film. No, but let me finish here. You should watch that film, from the 80s. Did you know your leader used to sell Haitian blood to the pharmaceutical?
Hold on, guys. Hold on.
You're so stupid. I literally told you already. It's always been black leaders with European powers. It's like you don't have any reading comprehensions. In your mind, you're saying that I'm saying it's always been white people. That's not what I said at all. I've said.
Okay, hold on, Marie, 1 second. Guys, I get it. Okay, you can disagree with somebody. That's what the discussion is about. No, Marie, you're fine. Hold on. We can disagree. Okay. The reason why we're having this discussion, we don't expect everybody to know the same thing at the same time, and we have to allow one at a time to speak. If you disagree with someone's, point of view or their understanding of things, just lay your points down and you can agree to disagree. Like, Marie doesn't have to know the entire history, but then if you know it, you can, speak on that, and maybe she can learn from it.
First of all,
yes, I just want to finish. All I'm going to say before I mute up, is Africans are wicked. Haitians and Africans have killed more of their people than Europeans have ever done.
True.
And have you looked into Congo? Did you know about 30 million Congolese are dead? 3 million Igbos in Nigeria are dead. 1 million Ethiopians are dead because of Red Terror. And you want to bring white people into this? 2 million people are dead in the Sudanese war of the 80s and early 2000s. And you know what? I'll tell you one thing. My advice to you is focus on Haiti. Make Haiti great. Forget about Africa. Africa is a tribal continent, and every man is for his tribal brother he looks after. There is no unity. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you.
I got a question for that girl. Because to me, it makes,
I want to address what he said to me. Then
but I just want to say this, and then you continue. Why is it that I get the whole you're saying that they're working with white people? My question is, why is it so hard for you to believe that there are certain black people that just do things based on their own greed? Like, it has to be the fact that let's just say they are working with some European person. Let's just say that, right? Why is it so hard for you to agree with the fact that that black guy probably approached that white man, or maybe went and said, listen, I want to talk to that white man and make a deal with him? Why is that hard for you to? Because now that just puts all the blame on that particular Haitian, right? Because he's the leader. He's the one that actually controls everything. Why is it that hard for you? I just, to be honest, that's what's hitting me.
I never blamed everything on white people, so I don't know what you're.
Why don't you blame everything on the black guy? That's what I'm really asking.
Because the black guy didn't do it all by himself.
Oh, you're so. Oh my
Somebody
God,
got to
you're
teach her.
deluded, Maria. You're deluded again. You're deluded.
Wait,
Very
oh yeah,
deluded.
listen, I didn't even,
Be
I
respectful.
didn't, I didn't even
Don't
address,
disrespect her.
I didn't even
We're
address
gonna
you.
have to teach her gently.
All
We're
right.
gonna have to
No,
teach
you
her
guys don't
gently.
need to teach me
Let me
anything. You guys are
let me
delusional. You guys are saying that white people have never done anything to Africa
let me
or
have
No one ever
discussion
said
with
that.
Marie.
that would have
Hold
led
on,
to some of the conditions that
Marie.
is in
Marie.
the Caribbean today. And I don't know who that guy is, but obviously, I never denied that Haitians kill people, Africans kill Africans, and the same way around. I clearly
Marie.
said that we have our own issues. I never denied that. I literally never did. But
Look,
a lot of our issues, especially in Haiti, in my country, institutionally, a lot of these problems can be traced back to white people, and obviously, black leaders maintain the system because in my country, the black leaders at one point were only spending 1% of the budget on education.
Marie, let me
1%.
ask you
So
this,
obviously,
okay?
that's when it comes to our issue with education, that's a self-inflicted wound. So
Marie,
clearly, I
Maria,
can
are you living in the 1800s?
that
Are you
I
living in
hold on.
2021 or the
Guys, hold
1800s?
on, hold on, hold on.
First of all, his history is relevant because history explains the present.
Okay,
So
Marie, let me ask you
a lot of
this.
the power that European countries have literally comes from all the profit they made as the colonies,
Marie,
profit they
Marie.
made from colonization, and still to this day, they still
Okay, Marie, allow the host to talk. Marie,
all right, yeah, sorry.
so Marie, I hear what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
But for example, the country we're speaking of here, right? Equatorial Guinea. I laid it out. They clearly, like I said, they became wealthy after colonization. The oil, they found it after colonization. So there is no hindrance of white control here. This is entirely black control. You have a black president with his son as the vice president. I have shown the short documentary on how they are, they are keeping the wealth for themselves and the people are living in poverty, abject poverty. They are buying mansions, Michael Jackson gloves, sports cars, you name it. So how is that a white person's fault that these people are not using their own country's money, the money that belongs to the people? They're not spending it in the country. They're not improving their infrastructures. They are not improving their education. They are not doing any of this. How is this white people's fault? They have the money. It's not that they don't have it. They have it. But the people are still in poverty. How do you explain this? Because if we want to go back, because you had the attempt to talk about like slavery, I mean, that's not gonna work. It's the people themselves, the way the Africans on the continent and even all over, the way they think is the issue here. Because it's African upon African that come when they take charge, they seem to repeat the same thing back to back. So you cannot say this is white people. At what point do we as a people, when are we going to take responsibility without saying this happened in, a million years ago? What about the Africans that were selling Africans? The goods they collected from it. How come we don't talk about that? But we only talk about the one side to say, oh, this side, holds us back. Most of Africa's resources in these countries, they didn't pop up till after colonization. That's when they popped up. So this idea of colonization, we can't even, I don't even want to talk about that. Unless white people are coming back to recolonize Equatorial Guinea and several countries that act this way, then, we can't really say anything. Diego, go ahead.
Yes, Marie. I want to tell you something, my darling. You know, I will tell you something that you will not like hearing, but I will tell you. Uh, you need to understand something about Africa and the African. You cannot be smart and lead the African. To lead the African, you gotta be dumb. This is something you need to understand. This is why they keep making the decisions, and you keep seeing Africa for what's happening in Africa. Is because if you want to lead the African, you gotta be damned. You cannot go and speak with the African in wise terms because he will not vote for you. You gotta go down to his level of being damned so that he votes for you. So unless this thing changes, which I don't see it changing, uh, we'll have the same scenarios we're having. This is why I told you we have a lot of ignorant people in Africa that are reproducing in high numbers. Eight guys, 8 kids popping out in a village, but just a dude that has 3 wives, and he only has 3 goats. You see, and this is the
Oh, okay,
issue
okay,
we're
okay,
having in
okay.
Africa. My father,
How much?
he
How much
works
does
on this stuff.
how much does the average
You see,
African make
my
in those
father,
countries? How much does the average African make in those countries?
Uh,
how
uh,
much?
they say in most
Less than
countries,
two
let's
dollars a
say
day.
two
Let it be
two
specific.
dollars, $2 or less a day.
Okay. So if you look at poverty and trends, poor people have more children. That's just a fact. Poor people have more children. In these African countries, and in my country too, if you can't even send your kid to school, if you don't even have $2 to buy food, how are you going to get contraceptives?
But Marie,
That's what I'm saying.
Marie,
Because
what?
you guys are,
Wait, Marie, you're missing the point here. I just laid out the very country we're talking about here, Equatorial Guinea, right? The people, they don't have to be poor. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to tell you here. They do not have to be poor. They have oil. You have African dictator worse than colonialists, depriving them of that wealth. That's what I'm trying to lay out to you here. It's not like they don't have it. They are being deprived. That's what I'm trying to explain to you here. If they spend it wisely, if they spend the money wisely in the country, on the people, they don't have to worry about what you're talking about here.
I thought process, Mr. Afrodamis, is the fact that that president in Equatorial Guinea, for some reason, is doing that because the white man convinced him to do it. That's her thought process.
no, I
Like
never said
she
that.
really believes this
I
this
literally never
like
said
Africans.
that.
She believes that black men, women, whatever, are the purest people in the world.
I never
Can
said
never
that.
think of doing it. No, ma'am, can I please finish? But
No, because I
that's
never
where
said
you're
that.
leading
You're
to.
putting words in my
Because
mouth,
that's
and
what
I
you're
never said
leading
that.
to when you
I
keep
never said
mentioning
that.
whites.
I'm not
When
alluding
I'm
to that
telling
either.
you,
I never said that. Don't misconstrue
okay,
my words.
fine. But what I'm telling
I
you
never said
is
that.
that why is it so hard for you to believe that a certain person themselves are approaching those? Let's say that, because I could agree with you. Let's say Europeans are affecting some things in Africa. Why is it so hard for you to believe that black people are the first to approach those Europeans and make those deals? By that alone would tell you that it's the black
Not
guy's fault.
really. Not really. Because listen,
Okay, so
I don't know if you're
I
gonna
get,
put
okay.
words in
So
my
your
country,
thought process.
but
I just want to get this.
in my country, when we got our freedom, those French people, they came to our coast and they offered our leaders gold status. At one point,
And they took it. Did they take it?
they even offered to make all Haitian people French
But
citizens.
did they take it?
No. Because this was Henry Christophe. He did not take those deals.
Okay, but
So
what I'm saying, Marie,
no, I know it happens in other countries.
Marie, we're talking about 2021, for example, right, Marie? If you,
So you're
if
saying
you,
at the same
Marie,
time,
you okay? Wait, Marie,
come on.
do you pay your own bills?
No.
Okay. For example, right? Okay. If, let's say, I choose not to pay my bills, you know, the electricity is shut off, the internet is shut off, I can't buy grocery, but you know, I'm working and getting paycheck, I'm getting paid, but I'm neglecting these things and not paying for them, right? And then I go out complaining, talking about, oh man, it's other people's fault that I'm not paying my own bill, and I have the money with me to pay my bill, but I'm blaming other people for not paying my bill. Would that make sense?
No.
Okay.
That's also not.
Okay. Well, that's not gonna make sense, right?
No.
All right. That's what's happening with Equatorial Guinea. They have the money. Okay. It's not that the country is one of those places that is dry. They don't have the resource. They have oil up the yin yang. They have the if they don't have corrupt leaders, they have the potential to become not only one of the richest countries in Africa, like in the world, but their population is under 2 million. They have enough where if it's not corruption, they are citizens. They can give all of them paychecks every month without them even working. So there is no reason for these people to live in poverty. That's the whole point. This is the story for most African countries. This is why, so you cannot blame that on anybody but the African himself.
First of all, actually, first of all, Europeans, right? So they saw weak Africans, they took advantage of y'all. I mean, that's just how it is.
So wait a minute. So it's all the reasons.
Are you being serious?
Hold on. So Marie, so you're telling me it is only quote unquote weak Africans. So these people, you telling me they don't know what they want. They had, you know, this.
I'm not talking about.
Well, because what you're saying. Wait,
I'm
Marie.
talking about the African race. I'm talking about the African race.
Well, the thing is, Marie, when someone, if I see a car.
What about the Arabs?
If I see a car, for example, okay, I spend my whole paycheck on the car, you know, and I'm going broke, my kids are not eating, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can I, you know, can I blame the people I bought the car from?
What?
Okay, Marie.
I'm not understanding these, like.
Okay, because again, you're creating what I'm saying.
Because I feel like half of them are like false equivalencies. Like,
okay, because do you understand? Do you understand what you're saying here? You are painting the African as this docile, weak-minded individual who cannot think. People can just take advantage of them, instead of saying the Africans are the ones making these choices on their own. Their choices just seem to be fucked up. That's it. That's the truth. No thinking there. That is the truth. Like, but you're trying to make do all this.
So according to everyone in the chat, the state of Africa has absolutely nothing to do with Europeans. Nothing at all. Nothing.
Not today.
I disagree with that.
Well, you obviously don't know African history. Okay, well, Marie, you know,
not means he was telling her history, Mr.
Like you said,
that tells us a lot.
Yeah,
the fact that not means it was telling her her history. So I that's when I knew.
Wait, hold on, Afrodamus, can I say something?
Go ahead.
And the brother speaking just now just summed it up. You cannot come into a conversation about history about your country and then not know the players
First of all,
and
who
the
said
power.
I didn't know
And
anything
hold
about
on,
my
hold on.
country? First
I
of
can
all,
tell that you're
I
young
already,
because you
first of all,
don't
first of
allow
all,
me to finish. Let me finish,
six of
and
my
then you can go.
grandchildren were killed by
You're
the
hold
that
on,
you
Marie,
brought up, okay?
Calm
It's not
down,
that I don't know.
Marie. Calm down, Marie. No one's gonna hear anything if we do this. I can tell you're an intelligent person, but your youth is clouding your intelligence right now. Listen, and if you're gonna come with the facts, then cook me after I speak, but don't cut me off when I'm speaking, please. So when you step into a conversation about power, history, and politics, you have to have facts, names, dates, and people. I did that for your country. When I asked you to give it back, then you jump to, I'm young, I don't know. I can respect that. But if you're young and you don't know, and you came on here asking a question, you have to learn from those who are better learned than you in these subjects. It's nothing different. It's nothing disrespectful. I can prove some of your points. Yes, there were um, colonizers in Africa. Of course, the white man did a whole bunch of things. But until we as black people start accepting the faults that we have done, start accepting the fact that there were black people that we share a lineage with who collaborated with these people. And when we realize that a white man can't stand in 30 in 90-degree weather without almost dying, right? Without putting all kind of creams on his body. Now you take that and you put him in the jungle with mosquitoes and all kind of other shit. He can't do it by himself. So he had help. This is what we're saying. And the topic of this conversation was a corrupt country in Africa. These corrupt Africans are doing it on their own. They're oppressing their people on their own. So this is what we're trying to say. So if you're gonna learn, then you gotta learn, but you gotta let people speak. And if they say something dumb, Marie, you can cut them after they say it, but just let them finish and let them get it out.
Yeah, I think Marie is going with her own personal feelings here, because obviously she's clearly ignoring facts. You're speaking to people here who not only are they from Africa, there are people on this panel right now who are in Africa. They've never left Africa, and you're still trying to argue with them about what the realities are. You know, like, that's why in the beginning you probably missed it. I said this is not about, talking about 1894 or that, or even people talk about slavery as if the whole of Africa experienced slavery. Not every African was enslaved. No, I'm just it's a small number of Africans that experience, the slave trade. Very minute number compared to the overall population of Africa. But I understand, in the West is blown out of proportion as if it's every African. So that's not every African's story, you know. Today, what we are experiencing, especially the corruptions we're talking about, if anybody wants to help to see Africans improve, this type of talk will never ever help Africans, because it's deflection to say, no, these people, the poverty that people are facing in Africa, it is not Africans doing it. It is other people. When Africans themselves, we're seeing revolutions every day in Africa. We're seeing leaders getting kicked out because of their corruption. And you have somebody in the West saying, no, 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 it is not these people, it's white people. That blows my mind. Diego, what do you think?
Hey, me too, Mr. Prodavis. It's and they don't even live in Africa.
Yes.
That's the part.
Anyways,
Yes,
I'm gonna go back to
Afrodamus.
Thank you for coming, Marie.
okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead,
This is the
Diego.
thing I'm telling people, that the African, he doesn't know how to think, but but they don't want to accept this thing. Africans just don't know how to think. They can think, but they don't know how to. This is just the truth of the situation. And since they don't know how to think, they cannot make decisions that will have longevity. This is just the truth of the situation. At the time, the decisions that the African presidents make, they actually think are good decisions. You see, but since they
Right.
can't think, the decisions don't last that long. It's pretty simple. So,
Well,
is
the
the
thing is,
Africans'
Diego,
problem? You
Diego,
know,
I'm
is
glad
the
you said
African
this.
problem, and this is what.
You said it best. Okay, just because the individual, because everyone have to live with their decisions. If you make a decision that is a poor decision, that doesn't mean you're a victim all of a sudden.
Yeah,
You're just terrible at making decisions. That's you just gotta live with it. And as far as saying who is
exactly.
selecting these people, these leaders, quote unquote, the people at times, vote for them. They vote for them based on in tribe, based in giving them little tokens, whatsoever. But you cannot come back and
Yep.
say, oh, I
You know,
made it, I
like the
made a poor choice, now all of a sudden I'm a victim. That's not how life works. If you make poor choices, you got to live with it, and the
yeah.
Africans seem to know
Mr.
how to
Madam,
do that.
what always, and this is the thing that always boggles me, man, is that, and I don't want to be really biased, but I usually see this a lot with the women, right? Especially,
Of course.
this thing of it's not, and I've ever a debate with somebody about this, like, okay, she was an African American woman but from Ghana and stuff. She was saying the same thing this girl was saying, the whole, yeah, but it's not their fault, it's Europeans who are control. I'm like, ma'am, my country is a democratic country. People wake up at 6 a.m. to go vote for that party. What are you talking about? Talking about it's not my decision. It was already made for me. The ANC was gonna win because the British Empire decided. Like these things, man. I'm like, ma'am, you never even step foot in Africa. Fuck South Africa. Sorry for cursing. Damn South Africa. You never even step foot back into Africa, and you're making all this hypothesis based on your PowerPoint presentation that you read that was written by I don't know who.
Well, that's the problem, because in America, especially a Western world, someone when people use the word to me, educated, that to me you're expressing that you're ignorant, because education never stops. Okay, I'm educated. So you went and sat there. Somebody, just told you some things. You wrote it down, and now you know everything. So if you cannot even differentiate that Africa has 54 countries, it's not a country, it's a continent, your understanding is very limited. You don't understand the politics of African countries. Okay. And also, if you believe that, oh, Africa used to be united, this one united place, and the Europeans came and chop it up, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't understand that is best. This borderlines is what saving Africa. Africans would have been killing each other, you know, and I'm going to
Yeah,
stand on that.
yeah.
They will be killing each other. This is a fact.
Very
Look at
true, very
even in
true.
some of these countries, the people can barely live with each other. Okay. So the national borders is what's best. So far, if anything, that's the best thing that ever happened. But again, another thing, you know, when I gave the example of Equatorial Guinea, where the people don't need to be in poverty. She still try to wiggle and make an excuse that, oh no, it's white people. Nobody's stopping these people from taking care of their own people. No one is stopping them. So you can't come back and say this is white people making me. Oh, so white people are now. I wish white people would force me and say, hey, you know what? Here, we'll give you extra money. Go buy a mansion. Go buy you a sports car. You know, that's not reality. But this is
Yeah,
what these people are
and I
trying
have
to
other
tell
things to
us.
say after them.
Go ahead.
You know, there's this group of people that tell that we are the birds of knowledge. We educated the European. So I asked them, why did the African fight to get into schools that the European had built when they were in here in Africa colonizing? So people gotta start reading books, man.
Oh,
Every
here
this stuff is
we have.
documented, man. We, you
It's
know,
funny. We
we're
have
having conversations with people.
African power. Look at his church. What does Mr. African power says?
Yeah, he said, why didn't they kill each other? He's saying Africans didn't kill each other before the before
Yeah, I got an answer for him. I got an answer for him.
this guy.
Because
That's again.
they didn't have
Take
horses.
it.
They didn't have horses. That's why. They
Yeah.
couldn't travel far. That's why. Because they weren't able. They didn't have cars so that they could drive to the Sinonkes and kill them easily. They had to walk to them. That's why they were unable to kill each other that fast.
Like, do some of these people understand? Like today, these resources in Africa, right? That's making people wealthy. If there wasn't these sovereign borders, right? It's just open, and anyone, for example, can go and get these diamonds and golds in these countries. Do you understand what the place would look like? I don't think they have any idea. Some countries will not exist. Plain and simple, they will not exist. So people need to wake up, and face reality. We have to call things for what they are.
And
Equatorial Guinea is a terrible country, not because of the people, but they have corrupt leaders in place. That's the reason. It's not just the ordinary people. The ordinary people are being held hostage. Their development is being held hostage. That's the truth. And that's the story in most African countries.
I still stand on my it's a black woman thing rhetoric, like, because I constantly see them obviously on thing. Because even yesterday, right, there was this women that they were opening topics obviously about racism and stuff, and then on their picture or profile pic, it's a profile pic, they had like an image of like inmates, like African American inmates and stuff, and I'm just there. I'm like, okay, cool. I get that there's this level of system, and there are certain African Americans that are in jail and stuff. And I'm trying to enable those women about this. I'm like, why don't you ever at least have on your PTR productive blackmail? Why don't you try more on promoting promoting productive people and having them on your PTR instead of this whole there's a system on all your men, and everyone is just trying to put black men in America into a bunch of jail. Like, people just, I understand that maybe there's some racism that plays into part, but the fact that they are productive African American men that do thrive, but yet they're not celebrated. Y'all have to always concentrate on those criminals. I can ask them, and yeah, and it's this thing where, and then another Eidos guy was thanking me about it, and today actually on the bet, I'm like, shout out to what you for calling out that BS, right? I'm like, because I'm the guy here with my PTR posting. I think I put in my PTR Ben Carson, the surgeon, the neurosurgeon. Like, this is an African American who accomplished a lot. Is this what you see most black men as prisoners, as victims of some white supremacists? This is why they're all in jails. Like, are we just a bunch of men in prison for? I'm sorry, are they just a bunch of men in prisons for you? I don't know, like, and I think it's a mindset that they distribute to all black women all over the world. This idea that all black people are, it's not their decisions, and somebody else is making their decisions for them. And I just see that mostly with the women. I'm sorry, but that's why I see it. Well, I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it's not only those women. Some like this guy, whoever this is, African Power. He's not gonna hit the link and come and have real discussion. He's just gonna throw silly shots. Maybe he's a Pan-Africanist. Um, they are not with reality. This is why in the beginning I laid all that out. They're gonna come here, despite, like, you could show facts to them. They don't want to hear facts. They just want you to come here and tell them make believe stories. Oh yeah, Africa is such, this great place, back in the days, before the Europeans came. Oh, you remember, you would have, I'll probably be all the way in Gambia. I'll have a cousin in Zululand. I just used to climb on my horse and ride my way all the way to Zululand until the white man came and said, nope, you can no longer go to Zululand. Do you know what would happen to me if I had gone to Zululand back then? What would happen to me? Like, these people have no idea about what they are talking about. They just create these fantasies. They go and watch some Disney movies, like The Lion King or The Prince of Egypt. Now they think this is reality. So when you come and lay down the facts, oh, you are the problem. Oh, you are such a hater. Just let us live in this fantasy. Because if you don't allow us to live in this fantasy, you are a self-hater. You are this. Sir, oh ma'am, hit the link, come up here, have conversation with us. Tell us how much you love Africa more than any of us on this panel. See, if you love Africa, you will be telling Africans the truth. That's just what it is. You cannot just massage people's feelings. A lot of these people, they lack critical thinking skills. One thing I remember in the white people's school, right? When you go to the 13th grade, when I was in the 13th grade, there's a class, especially, they always, in the beginning, they have what they call critical thinking skills. And this is important, and I think they should teach Africans this critical thinking skills. This is why, like when some of them say, oh, Africans should have nuclear bombs. Nuclear? Are you kidding me? Nuclear? Okay, that's because you don't know the temperament of the African. Diego, do you think African countries should have nuclear weapons?
At least for the moment, it wouldn't be a smart thing. It wouldn't be a smart thing, but I believe that it wouldn't be a smart thing not because the African would actually bomb other people, but I believe that he would actually create damage to himself.
That's
He
no,
wouldn't be able to
Diego.
sustain such a thing.
Diego, you think the first person who has the codes to that nuclear, who's gonna remove them from power?
Exactly.
Who's going to remove them from power? That's my whole point. Who's going to remove them?
Exactly. Yeah.
I like that point. Yeah, I like. Who's gonna remove them from power? Because we are loyal to these people. Africans are loyal, and you said it as yourself. The African leader is the reflection of those people. Dougie, where are you from? Are you like Zim or something? Where are you from originally?
I'm from Mozambique.
Oh, when were you in South Africa? Because I want to ask you something.
I came back to Mozambique in 2020. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, but you do know the whole. What I'm trying to say is, back there was something Afrodamis was saying, right? And it's almost like I was seeing it with my own eyes. The fact that, because again, we're not critical thinkers, but I think about the fact that Thabo Mbeki right, had a corruption charge with actual evidence, with numbers showing this guy is stealing money. He had numbers showing, look, guys, we need to remove him. But then black people, because of speeches, and he sounds like an educated lame, quote unquote, and with his English, were like, punish him, impeach him, and let's put the guy who doesn't even have a matric in, doesn't even have a high school diploma, who washes off HIV with his scrubs. Let's make that guy president, right? So you telling me these people should have a nuclear access to nuclear power? I'm scared they'll blow up the country.
You know, this is the thing that I want black people to understand in the world. Man. We got to develop our minds. You know, as a race, we're blessed with our physical capabilities, but the mind is also a muscle that needs to be trained. I ask all of these blacks that come here on the comments as intellectuals, show us the picture of your library. How many books are you reading? How many books have you read? You see, because
Diego,
they seem very smart,
Diego,
and
these people are not reading, Diego. Okay, that is why. Look, why see the moment, because these conversations here, are for intelligent people to understand. Because you see, if you're talking to people and you have to tell them, oh, not all, not this. For example, if I say African, right? Common sense would tell you it's not every single African, without me having to tell you that. So sometimes you would see people come, they will say, but not all. Obviously, like, what, are you a child? Like it cannot be all, but we're talking in generalities. Okay, they cannot separate themselves. They don't have the critical thinking skills. This is why you have this lady from the fish market here, trying to defend the indefensible. How can anyone defend a country that is less than 2 million people, making billions in oil revenue, and they're living in poverty, and she has to sell fish in the English fish market? Okay, and when I say fish, it's not the one you catch from the water, if you know what I mean. So if anything, should be like, Afridamus, you are really on point. We needed this for someone to lay this out. We're living in abject poverty. Only 2 swimming pools in the country. I was one single, Olympian has to go train in Ghana or South Africa, but now he's got to move to Spain. Thank you for shedding light on this. But instead, no, Afridamus, you're the bad guy. How dare you, bust our fantasy bubble? But yet, and then you have the Pan-African group. Maybe they also can learn from this and understand the politics of Africa and know that it is much more complicated than what it is. You want to say, oh, talk about white people. Why do you want me to talk about white people? I'm not white, okay? I'm African, I'm black, just like everybody. Why do I need to focus on other people instead of looking in the mirror and seeing, what the problem is? You see what I'm saying? Like, why?
Yeah.
But no, oh, you gotta talk about John Smith. You gotta talk about Karen White. You gotta talk about Julie Blue over there. It just doesn't make sense. Every time you bring a conversation that is supposed to make the African think, there's deflection, there's emotions, and they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But the best thing that happened, see, the internet here, I'm going to put it to good use. I'm not going to be making dancing videos. That's silly because that's what they're into. Food videos. Oh, people yelling at each other. No, this is this is about education. This is about opening people's eyes to facts. Because you have a country like Equatorial Guinea, for example, it is hidden. People don't even know like this place exists. They don't know, what is happening over there, or using the internet for internet scams. In fact, before this week ends, I have a documentary to play about, internet scammers. That's going to be the next topic. I hope you guys get ready for that as well. But we have to speak the truth. And this is not just to sit here and talk about things. It opens people's minds so that we can start seeing the reality. Hey, it's easy to just blame white people, okay? Seriously, it's easy to blame white people. It's easy to blame the Arabs, the Chinese. But what about the African? How come the African have to blame everybody? It's like, okay, things are just happening to the African, but the African is not making anything happen. Is that what you want me to believe? When I'm looking around, grew up in Africa, around Africans, speak with Africans, follow African events, listening to Africans, but yet you want me to talk about white people. But then when I tell you about the things that white people are doing, oh, you are asking white people. So you want me to go around and videotape all these nice bridges, because I don't need to do it. Your dictator is doing it for you. Your dictator is the one riding in Bentleys that the white man built. Your dictator is the one going dropping, millions in the white man's store, buying the white man's mansion. I don't need to show you these things. You guys are seeing it for yourself. But they want you to be blind to it because they don't want me to show it. It's like you're trying to hide while your ass is out. People can see it. It's ridiculous. Diego, I'll give you the last word before we leave.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for the show, man. This was a great show.
Thank you.
My advice to the Africans, man, is stop wasting your time watching the Kardashians, thinking about when you'll buy your next wig or who is the next girl you want to smash. Pick a book, pick a book because it will be beneficial to you. It will be beneficial to the society you live. This is the first start the African needs to make. Forget about instant gratification. Think about delayed gratification. It's something you got to teach your kids if you want to have a prosperous future. Now, as far as the African, my friends, he doesn't know how to think, and I see it happening for the next century. I'm gonna be honest with you, as people are being born, and the poor people, the dumb people, are the one reproducing the most. So, thank you for everybody that's been here, and thank you, Afrodams.
Hey, thank you, Diego. I mean, you said it best, and you're always welcome here. I'll see you probably tomorrow on another show. Show how the Africans in some places are using the internet and what they are using it for. It's a lot of topics to handle here, but I'm up for the task. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's about to bring me to the end of today's show. I've been here longer than longer than anticipated, but hey, the conversation is great. I get it. Some people, they want to come here and defend the indefensible, but I expected that. But some of you are here for information, and I'm sure you've received that information. You have to realize this channel is about information, providing information to the masses. Anyone can learn from the things that I'm presenting here. It's not based in feelings. It's not based in, oh, this is how I feel today, so therefore I cannot speak the truth about this. No. It's about what is happening and I'm uncovering it in real time. I hope you guys enjoyed, because I sure do. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. You'll be getting a lot of this type of information. I understand it's not for everyone, but if you find that this information is for you, by all means, subscribe and share with your friends. Thank you. Have a wonderful Friday.